ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Casting the Spotlight, episode number 222. And following the St. Paddy's Day special, we return with a solo episode.
The triple digit.
Yeah, it's only happens every basically 111, I guess, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Seems
Every
right.
time, yeah, 111. So that is quite a while.
Yeah.
But
only
anyway,
had one other triple digit.
only one. So for this here, episode 222, for this or that, to start us off here, surprisingly, what we've never done as a category on this or that is band/artist, obviously musical artists, and which is a wide variety of everything, and it's kind of wild, the grand scheme of things. We've done the segment, this is the 49th edition, so we're about to hit a milestone on this segment as well. And we've never done artists before.
It is kind of crazy. I guess is the only music thing we've done rock songs?
No, we've done music albums too.
Okay.
Those might be the only two times though. But music albums, even when we did it, it was genre open, because I feel like between me and you, even though we have a lot in common, we're like whole albums that we can have a real opinion on are a little more restricted, so we've got to be mindful of that. So I'm like, it's definitely better if we have it open between us.
It's
for
like
all genres and albums.
That's the thing too with even movies, but albums even more so with us, because we talk a lot of movies. We don't always necessarily know what each other's listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that.
What do you like? What is there any new inside the last couple of years? Is there any new artists that you've discovered or listened to?
I mean, it's a lot of hip hop.
Or do you listen to some of the more? And I'm not judging for that either, because I fucking listen to still a lot of the stuff we grew up with, and after that in high school and post high school. You know what I mean? There's different stuff, but I like to mix it up too, because I like to discover new music while also mixing a lot of the stuff that I've known and loved.
Yeah, I love classic rock because I grew up on that, so I listen to a lot of those bands still forever. But I keep up with the Weeknd's stuff, Vince Staples, the rapper, that Ramirez guy we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like Lil Wayne or Eminem releases, I'll check out. And it's hard to say though, there's artists too,
Is there anybody that you've gotten into that you'd never really listened much before in the last year or two? Because we don't always talk too much music.
Man, I don't know. That's even hard to say off the top of my head. I'd have to look at kind of my library, but
which we have talked some, but I guess in masses of what the other really digs into and enjoys on a regular basis.
Because that's where I feel the most old in a lot of ways is music. Because even the new stuff that I keep up with is from artists that I've liked for a minute.
Yeah.
It's
10,
hard for
10,
me
15, 20 years in.
There's new artists that I'm oh yeah, my girlfriend, she's into she got into Tate McRae and Noah Khan and these people semi-recently, and is keeping up with them and stuff, and I'm man, maybe I should dabble more in music, because the artists that I keep up with, I've liked for a long time.
Those two songs he's released off his new album, which comes out on her birthday.
Yeah.
Fucking The Great Divide and Porchlight, are bangers, honestly.
Dude,
I just talked to her about that.
Really into him.
The other...
we went to see him in concert.
Yeah.
But... I like him, but the thing that I always say about him is I'm because she shows me stuff of his social media, and he's a goofball, a fun guy and stuff, and I'm just man, I just feel he's not an artist that I'd always want to listen to, because his music is just a downer. The songs are kind of a bump.
The tone is, I feel but it's not they're not, you can't still listen to them. But it's the point I made on several episodes ago, where if I'm in a good mood, there's times where even some of the sad music will still sound so good because I'm in a great mood. You know what I mean?
I just want the artist to have a little variety.
Because you can be...
Give me some happy, give me some angry, give me some sad.
I think he does.
He's just got that sad folk vibe. That's what it is.
That video that I made, by the way, whenever we left the bar on Tam Avenue that night, after the dinner and stuff, that's the first fucking song that came back, that came on where we left. And it was kind of nice because I was like, that was a song I already knew without knowing so much Noah Kahan music, and she was like already familiar with it, and we just kind of like, I wasn't like blasted drunk, but I was kind of drunk. We were like, it was just really nice because, you know, it was just like, it came on and like, you know, we just kind of singing it and stuff. And, but I was like, and that song just had a good vibe. I had like that and like another Post Malone song and like a couple of the other ones, and I was like, I think Dial Drunk would be fucking perfect because of like, and plus it was part of like all that shit. But that song I knew about even 2 years ago, and we fucking, that was the song we used whenever Lauren came on, whenever she came on a couple of years ago, but no, he's got some good music. Like there's some, like Teddy Swims is another one who's like got a great fucking voice.
Yeah, he does.
A great voice and some great songs.
Into him too.
And
my dad really likes Teddy Swims.
And like, man, that's sometimes I'm like, holy shit! Like these people that I don't even really know much about, and I start listening to their music because of how impressive they are, for different reasons, you know.
I mean, like, there's a couple country artists too, like Tyler Childers, I think is how you say his last name.
Yeah, Harry fucking loves him.
He's really good, and Zach Bryan, like, there's some.
I agree.
There's just a lot of, I mean, across all genres. Like, I'm big into, you know, hip hop music and rock music, but there's like some country I like too because grew up on it in ways too because my parents were into it. And, like, there's certain, I don't discredit any genre of music, really, you know? Like, there's not a genre of music where I'm not like, okay, let's give it a chance. Maybe I'll catch a vibe with this, you know?
Yeah.
And they're all their own different kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to throw on some, like, folk music or some classical shit at, like, a party. But, like, I think every music has its purpose and its reason. And, like, it's all good in its own setting. You know
I just got the vision of you being like, hey, you want to listen to this? I don't give a fuck. I'm playing it.
Just a party. It's like, we're flipping on Mozart,
no, dude,
baby.
There's some folk stuff. Like, the Lumineers can kind of be referred to, even though they're kind of considered alternative, but, like, sort of folk in a way. Mm-hmm. But yet they have so good of songs. And, like, anything that I'm attracted to on, like, that level, I'm like, I don't give a fuck what it is, but if it speaks to me or I think it sounds good or meaningful, I fucking download that shit. I'm like, that's fucking, you know what I mean?
Like,
any of those things. Catchy, whatever it is, then I'm like, that connects with me.
Every music genre has at least some artist you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I dig this. Like, like folk music, like like old folk music, like John Denver and Creedence Clearwater Revival, like I'm really into those guys.
Yeah.
And they're technically considered like classic rock now, but if you compare their kind of music, like John Denver's almost like country. But like, even CCR, it's like, they're not quote unquote rock like Pink Floyd is from that same era, or like Jimi Hendrix or something like that. It's not the same kind of thing. It's way more like folksy. I don't even know how to really describe it. It's got like a southern twang to it, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if you would call it quite, but it's definitely got some of that. I don't know how you quantify it either, but like it was very popular too at the time, like when it came out.
Yeah, they were kind
of like pop.
But the same kind of thing was said for those guys, like John Denver and CCR probably not to the same extent because they did have a little more of a rock element to them. Mm-hmm. But John Denver would get like booked at rock festivals and stuff, and people that were like, "Oh, if you're a John Denver fan, you're soft because that's not rock." Because it wasn't the same thing. It was he was singing like folk music and like
it was definitely a little more like
Rocky Mountain High is not the same thing as Purple Haze. You know what I'm saying? That's a totally
There's so many
vibe.
examples you could throw out for that too. I think you're gonna like say something about Metallica or something.
I just meant that era of like festivals and stuff. It just it almost felt weird that they would consider John Denver like a rock artist, almost. Or like that, we're going to book him at a festival with, you know, these guys.
Creedence Clearwater Revival, like, is interesting because you can kind of see
they have songs that are a lot more folksy, and they have songs that are a lot more rock.
Yeah.
So it's
because there's some of the stuff that would be considered quote unquote harder might be considered rock, but some of the other stuff I can see what you mean. But they're tricky because it's
Especially
really
their
walking a
early
fine
music.
line, you know.
Yeah, they're an interesting band. They're like one of my favorite bands in a lot of ways, especially since I've got a little like I grew up listening to some of their songs like have you ever seen The Rain and Bad Moon Rising? I like those a lot whenever I was a kid, but like man, they got bangers if you like kind of dig into the discography, and they weren't even around that long.
They have some iconic songs
get along, and
for sure though.
I mean, they were also a wartime band, you know? They were kind of like fight the power band a little bit. So it's kind of like listening to their music almost transports you to that era in some ways. Like we were saying, like every kind of music, every band has their own vibe. Every kind of music kind of like puts you in a different place.
Yeah. Music like also instantly connects a lot of memories for you, I think, as a person.
Certain songs and every artist, especially songs.
Well,
and you can tie songs back to a certain thing.
Because me too, I'm like, there's certain stuff that like, and you have maybe had many experiences with the song, but sometimes a memory or two, because sometimes, you know, different things you go through will be like completely correlated with like some of what that song is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still try to enjoy, because I'm like, there are some songs that I just love to the end of time, like that'll always be some of my favorites, you know what I mean? Regardless, but it definitely has a real impact, like on memories and thought, and like of certain people and times of your life and eras and heartbreak and fucking success and like, you know what I mean? Things that are actually like everything, you know?
Yeah.
And music's interesting that way. Like we were talking about off air, is like a world without music feels a little flavorless. You know what I mean? It just does.
It just makes me think like Theo Vaughn had like an Amish kid on.
Yeah.
And like the Amish don't really listen to music outside of like hymns that they sing. You know? Because they don't do any of that shit. They don't, you know, go out of their way to stay in touch with modern times. So it's like this kid, dude, he asked him about music. He's like, you listen to any music? Are you into any, you know, any bands or anybody? And he's like, well, we sing 3 hymns in the morning at school. He's like, but one of my buddies got a hold of the CD player, and we'll sneak off to the field sometimes. And the artists he brought up, it's like these guys are like 30 years behind, you know, like at least. He said sometimes we'll sneak off to the fields and we'll listen to Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise guy, and Def Leppard. Those were the bands he brought up. I just imagine these Amish kids just jamming to Gangsta's Paradise and Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Yeah. Those are the two. Oh my god.
But it's like, wow, can you imagine? That's your taste of music. Because you got these 2 albums. We can listen to Def Leppard or we can listen to Coolio. What do you guys think?
Yeah. It's a little different.
It'd be a bummer. I mean, not that those bands aren't bad. Those artists aren't bad. But like, it's not like the top of the top that I'd want.
I know. I can't even explain. So getting to like this list for this or that tonight is obviously musical artists / bands. I didn't even know what angle to come from on this, because I was like, there's so many people you can include or exclude or, you know, put in there as like big bands or artists for the other person. But I was like, I'll just kind of make some, I guess, more of a fastball up the middle, and like some of them a little different, and see where it kind of goes. But it's surprising that this is the first time we've ever done this on the category segment. Yeah. So, do you want to know what your main is?
Yeah, let's get into it.
I switched it out, but I figured this could be interesting. What do you think is your main? Your main's gonna be MGK Machine Gun Kelly as your main.
Alright.
And he's facing a gauntlet of things here.
I mean, I really like MGK. So.
No, I know. I do too. Like, he's got some great fucking songs. We've used him just as much, if not more, than almost anybody on here, except like Lil Wayne, probably.
He gets a lot of hate too.
I know,
So
he does.
This will be interesting.
He does. Alright, well, this will be fucking double interesting. Because first up, we've got MGK or Nickelback. They've had...
Here's the thing. Here's what I'll
Let's
say
get
about
into
Nickelback. Like, I poke a lot of fun at Nickelback because that's just the fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I can also acknowledge that they had a number of hits in like the 2000s and even into the 2010s, like that weren't bad. But I never like, because they got played so much around me at a point in my life, like it didn't matter what it was in, movie trailers, the skating rink, on the radio, like they were just around at a point in my life.
Yeah.
And there were certain songs of theirs that I'm like, oh, this ain't bad.
Elementary, middle school, and junior high.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially that time.
So, like, I give them hate on a fun level. I don't really hate them, though. Like, I'm not like, all their songs are shit. Like, I've caught a vibe to their songs.
Dude,
fast,
Far Away, that
sure.
song is great. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs of theirs.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they're an iconic band at this point. Everybody knows Nickelback, whether they are kind of like, oh, let's make fun of them or not. Dude, they've made...
Sang that track on Spider-Man, too. Like the first Spider-Man.
They made so much money. They were, like... How many songs do they have that are hits, you know? They were the Raw theme song for a while.
Yeah. So many.
But... all that said, I'm definitely much more of a fan of MGK, so we're gonna go with it.
All right. No, I figured that would be fun. I was like, we kind of talked about it earlier, and I just joked about it being your main, but I was like, I'm not gonna put Nickelback as your main. All right. Next up, we've got Machine Gun Kelly or Matchbox 20. Didn't you say that was like one of your dad's favorite bands?
Yeah, he really likes him
for a while, or I don't know if it still is.
He just really likes Rob Thomas.
Yeah, Rob Thomas has got a great voice.
He also did some like solo stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a band that I probably heard around a lot when I was a kid. You probably had him on a CD player when he was downstairs working out and shit, you know?
Yeah.
No, I mean, they're another band that, I mean, they've had some iconic music, you know? They've been around. Rob Thomas is a name, like, when you hear his voice, you're like, oh yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
But for me, that's an easy MGK win.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know what prompted me to put them on there, but I knew like before we had talked about them, so I was like, that might be an interesting one to include. All right, well, MGK is not doing bad so far. Next up, we've got MGK or the Beastie Boys.
Oof. That's a little tougher. Because, I mean, they have a nostalgic place in me, too. They're their own vibe, too, because they're considered hip-hop, but they definitely have, like, a rock vibe about their hip-hop.
Some of the rapping kind of stuff that he says and does, like, to a rock vibe.
And it's funny, too, because when they came around, there wasn't a whole lot of white people in the hip-hop scene. And it was considered hip-hop, and it was kind of played, like, their music was kind of played on, like, black radio stations. And people are, like, shocked to find out that it was a group of, like, white Jewish guys. They're like, what the fuck? You know?
That is funny.
But, I mean, if you really listen to them now, they sound like they're white guys. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When I hear them, I'm like, yeah, there's no, like, I guess when they're kind of, like, having more of the rock vibe and kind of, like, screaming and yelling, you could sort of be like, yeah, maybe that's a black guy. But I kind of had that same thing, like Skizzy Mars, dude.
Yeah.
I felt like Skizzy Mars was a white guy in my mind. It's like, this is a white rapper. His, like, beats, his voice, the way he rapped, like, he just felt like a white guy to me. And then when I saw a picture of him, and he was a black guy.
You could probably say
like,
the same thing about Ian
oh my
Dior,
God.
too.
Yeah.
That, like, Hopeless Romantic and all those,
Yeah.
like, songs. I think he sounds great, like, but it's kind of more poppy, too.
Yeah.
In a way, but some of the songs he's had are tremendous.
Ian Dior, yeah. He's a black guy, isn't he?
Yeah. But he's, like, pretty light-skinned, but he sounds very, you know.
Yeah, I was like, Skizzy Mars was the one that I was like, holy shit.
Skizzy's got some good music, though. What are we on?
That was Beastie Boys.
Beastie
So I
Boys.
was talking about people were like shocked by them. Man, I really do have a lot of nostalgia for the Beastie Boys, and there's like a handful of songs of theirs that I'm a pretty big fan of. Like, I put them up there for me. Like, they're in my library, you know,
Yeah.
to quite an extent.
Yeah.
But as a fan, I'm probably still gonna lean MGK a little more.
All right. Well, let's see if the next one isn't quite as easy. Next up, we've got MGK or Limp Bizkit.
They're another one that's like a lot of childhood memories
Yeah.
and nostalgia tied in with them. Dude, it's so funny because I remember the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water like album.
Yeah.
That was like the era where my parents were like, even to my brother, because he was still pretty young. They're like, no, you gotta buy your albums at Walmart. And there were certain songs on that album that we'd listen to, we'd be like, what's even the point? Like,
Yeah.
half the shit's bleeped. I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. The edited version.
It's like one of those albums, dude.
What a waste of money.
Yeah, it was such a bummer. That I, like, that era where you're just like, fuck, dude, we gotta get this version of the album.
Yeah.
And as a kid, like, I was a lot younger than Devin, so it was like, he was probably more bummed about the fact than me, because I didn't really get it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I got to a point where I got it, though, and I was like, this sucks, dude. When my parents let me get the Carter 2 and the Carter 3,
Yeah.
like the parental advisory version, I'm like, oh, fuck, yes, dude. That was like a new era. When I got to freaking get those albums.
When you got the explicit versions?
Yeah. Those are like the first parental advisory.
Dude, Target always had them. Like Walmart had
I think I bought those
versions.
albums at like Best Buy. Is I think where I got.
Dude,
those
Best Buy
ones.
came through, man.
Yeah. Because they had shit from like previous years.
We used to go there all the time and fucking shop for movies and shit.
Limp Bizkit, man.
Limp fucking Bizkit or MGK.
Fred Durst, he's still out there doing the damn thing. You see, they're actually teamed up for something potentially. MGK and Fred Durst.
Oh, really?
Recently, they were like, there was some photo op they had in front of like some house, like some dilapidated house in like Nashville, and they like took a picture together, and people are like, oh, they might be doing a song together or something. And that'd be kind of cool. Man, that's tough. Fuck it, I'm still gonna go MGK, I think.
Damn! Oh man, I figured that one would be the first real potential threat. Alright, next up we've got MGK or Kanye West.
Oh. Kanye West is one of those guys that it's like, I'm like well aware that he has some problems. And I don't even like, I'm not the kind of Kanye fan that I like ever even try to justify the shit he says or does or this or that. I'm like, no, I mean, that was pretty fucked up. That was wrong.
Yeah.
But I also
Can separate
realize
the art from the artist.
Well, that and the fact that I realized with Kanye, like, like I kind of brought up on the, I'm pretty sure I brought it up on the podcast recently, like, he paid out of his pocket, like, his own money to put out, like, an article. I think it was in, like, Time or People magazine, where it was, like, a whole page or two as basically apologizing for his behavior and, like, explaining the fact that he's, like, I got mental problems, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
legit
mental problems. Like, he also got in, like, a car wreck that he had real damage to his brain, where he wrote through the wire.
Oh, there's no question he's got some CTE.
Like, he's got legit stuff going on.
Yeah.
And that also, it makes him partly into the artist that he is. And it's fucked up to say that, but like,
as many have.
Pushing the boundaries that he pushes, sometimes in good ways, when it comes to like music production and the hip-hop genre, and I mean, I'm not into it, but like even his clothing brand, like he finds ways to really do shit for himself, but he also pushes the boundaries in detrimental ways to himself.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, I mean, he's one of the few that you can really put in the modern era, can really put like the tortured artist label on. You know? Where like, he has problems and sometimes he's aware of that and pushes back against it, and sometimes he's in his episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes he's a superhero.
But, I mean, there was a long era, starting with, dude, the beginning, the College Dropout album, and the Late Registration and Graduation, like that era, like he really
influenced. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, and that was even after that.
Fucking great.
And that became one of the best albums of all time.
Yeah.
But like that early era of his, with his first the few albums, like really influenced my step into hip hop. He was one of the, like him, Lil Wayne, and Eminem were like the first hip hop artists I really followed towards, and like kind of pushed me into hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like because there was an era, like there was a long era where I said he was my favorite hip hop artist.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Kanye.
All right.
But
all right.
That's
no,
not.
I get completely where you're coming from, because I would probably say the same, as much as like I've liked a plethora of MGK's songs on some of the last several albums he's had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect it. 4-1 so far, MGK. Next up, I know this is going to be a real tough one for you. MGK or Creed. One of your faves.
It's kind of like the Nickelback thing.
It definitely is. I had to throw him in there.
Like, I respect the fact that Creed had some hits.
Dude, and they did. They really did.
Like, there's some songs of theirs that I'm like, they're an easy band to make fun of. They really are. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where you can poke fun at it, but you can't deny the fact that they had their era and they made their money and they had some songs really got over.
Oh, yeah.
My dad, again, that's another one of his bands. He was like really into Creed back in the day.
Matchbox. That was a great time in music, though, too. Like that late 90s into the early 2000s. Loved it.
Their lead singer, he's had his handful of his own
Stapp, he used
issues too.
He was definitely an alcoholic for a minute, and he had to.
I mean, I think he has kind of like mental stuff too, doesn't he? Like
I don't know.
I mean, there was
they'll get
too where
together
he was
now
like
and then.
Ready to get in fist fights with all these other like rock band lead singers and shit.
Wait on, hey, you fucking throw that drink at me! And then he'd go run and tackle.
Where you at? We can meet up right now.
I don't know if any of that was actually happening, but He fucking that is a known thing. He had his problems with alcohol for a while, and then they got back together. They made that Overcome album with like Rain and some other songs in 2008 after years of being apart. I don't know what he's doing now, or if he's still with them, or if they're still releasing stuff, because that's kind of one of those relationships because of some of his stuff that they haven't always been together.
They're still
they've been
alive.
apart. Yeah. Dude, we've been losing a lot of people lately. You been thinking about that? Have you been thinking about that on a mortality level?
I thought about that even this past
Chuck
week,
Norris,
because obviously with Chuck Norris,
Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, she was recent too. But I've even been seeing there was like a cartoon animator that did a lot of the 90s cartoons we watched and stuff. He passed away recently, and I'm just kind of got me thinking. I'm like, dude, yeah, these past few years, it's really been hitting to a pretty big level.
It levels you, it grounds you, it humbles you.
Where it's people that you don't even necessarily think about on a daily basis, but you're like, oh fuck, they had a real influence on my childhood.
And it could have been premature. It could have been, Chuck Norris was 85 or something?
Yeah, he lived a lot.
86?
Sure. I think he was 86, yeah.
And he did live a full life, but it still is unexpected, and you're like, holy shit.
And you got Dick Van Dyke out here. We're still ready to play Ebenezer Scrooge at 100.
Dude, Clint Eastwood's fucking 95.
Yeah.
And I just watched that trilogy. Dope, honestly. It was pretty sick. It was some real cool...
That's what I mean. We talk about all this
old Western shit that it was actually well done.
Yeah.
And I know that's other than the Dirty Harry 5 movies that he had. I know that A Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly were some of his biggest movies. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was absolutely a through and through great Western film, especially for the time it came out, because it was 1967. I mean, this shit was a long time ago.
What was those movies he did with the monkey? Do you remember those? Every Which Way But Loose or something like that?
Maybe. I don't think I've seen that one, no. And then I've seen Gran Torino and Trouble with the Curve and Cry Macho, stuff like that. Gran Torino is actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So,
sure.
But anyway, getting back to, I don't even know how the fuck we got into that. Like we always do. Oh, yeah, Creed.
Creed. Yeah, I'm going MGK on that one though. I gave Creed their flowers, but like I said, they're another band that I'm I don't really go out of my way to listen to them much myself, but they're around in so many late 90s, early 2000s movies and TV shows, and my dad listened to them all the time growing up, and so I know
to give the respect to Creed and Nickelback even through the shade throwing.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, that makes it 5-1 so far. MGK is blowing the fuck out of the competition. Next up, we've got MGK or Wiz Khalifa.
Oof. Man, that's another tough one. Wiz has had a major era in my life too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his albums. Rolling Papers 1 into that acronym album, ONIFC or whatever. Even his later stuff, Rolling Papers 2, we've talked about that.
Banger after banger.
What was that album he had that? He had a number of songs on. Obviously Black Hollywood was a good album of his. And
what was that Work Hard, Play Hard one? I don't even know what album that was.
That might have been ONIFC.
That came out in 2012.
Yeah. That was either Rolling Papers or ONIFC then, I think. One of those two. And even the Khalifa album, in the late 2010s, that was a good one. And he had some mixtapes in the 2020s that were even.
Yeah.
He's one of those artists that, he is one of the guys that I will kind of stop in and check out even his recent stuff, even if it's not what it was for me. That's the thing, Wiz's songs even still from the mid to late 2010s still hit just as hard today to me.
Yeah.
But it almost feels it's few and far between with some of his newer stuff, but he's kind of like Future, dude. That guy's just releasing music all the time. He just got a back catalog of music.
Well,
you know?
Wiz would release like a 420 album so many years in a row
Yeah.
and shit, and so like he would always be coming up with.
So it's like
He's still got some great shit he's part of though.
when you have so much music though, it's like there's gonna be some bangers, but they're not all gonna be.
No,
You know.
but he's good enough on the level of like I agree with you too. Is like it's worth checking out, and I feel that way about a lot of different artists too, because of their impact in the past. Whether or not because either way, even if the new album is like it doesn't have 7 bangers or whatever, but it might have 3, and you're like, I still fucking love these new songs.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be like, oh man, so it's like they still got it. It's like they're still connecting with you, and
Yeah, I think that there's certain. That's the kind of thing I was talking about before we even kind of went into the segment. Though, is it's like he's one of those artists where I kind of latched onto him in an era, so now I'm just kind of like riding with him. Like it's hard for me to kind of branch out away from the big collection of people that I already have. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep trying to check out their new shit because I know I catch a vibe with them. You know. Even though there's a lot of artists, even ones that I really like and respect, that release a plethora of different shit. Like MGK is one of them. You know, every album's a little different from
and
the
sometimes
last.
he'll still throw out like a rap mixtape and then a rock album or whatever. And
yeah.
So it's like
some of the stuff you're gonna be like, fuck yeah, this is for me, but it's not all gonna be that.
Yeah.
If they are dabbling in a bunch of shit, but I also kind of respect as an artist that you do all that different kinds of shit.
Well, and that's the thing too is like if they've proven themselves with you too, and a lot of these artists, you'll be willing to go back and check out, even if it's not all for you, what their new stuff is. But it's like that's still like there's a drawing power there because you're like you have all the memories and all the stuff of like some of their music that's had a hold on you in the past. You're like it's definitely worth checking out what they're putting out.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes it's hard for anything to be bigger than some of those like memories and some of that nostalgia from your childhood and stuff like that too. You won't always have.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you have a nostalgic vibe with an artist, you almost kind of latch onto them in a different way. Like even if the new stuff it doesn't give you the same vibe as that nostalgia stuff does. It's like you still kind of feel it with them because it was that artist.
Yeah.
I think, man, this is by probably the slimmest margin we've had so far, but I'm probably going to lean Wiz.
Okay. I thought you might, but I wasn't for sure on that one either. I mean, I didn't know the full way you were going to. I didn't honestly know if you were going to take MGK or Limp Bizkit. That's the one that I was really like, ooh. All right. Well, it is 5-2 going into the last 3. So the worst MGK does this split. But we'll see. We got 3 more artists here. Next up, we've got MGK or Oasis.
And Oasis, man, they're one of those bands that has a few songs that I'm like, this is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
But like as a collection, there's not a whole, and I've listened to a lot of like, I've listened to a couple of their albums and stuff like that, but like, they don't all hit me in the way that Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova hit me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And dude, they were another band. They were related. They might have been brothers or cousins. One of the two.
What is it? Don't Walk Away or Don't Go Away or something like that. That's a great one too.
Don't Go Crying Your Heart Out.
That one's great.
Yeah.
Or Stop Crying Your Heart Out or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah, you said Wonderwall.
They have a lot of like
Don't Look Back in Anger. That's
kind of emotion. Yeah, that's a good one too. They kind of have like a lot of emotional songs.
Yeah, it was during that like 90s, like early 90s time where like everything was definitely not counterculture yet, but like the big wave of the rush of the 80s was over, and you were kind of trying to figure out.
They kind of had a late 80s vibe.
They had that like 91 to 93 4 vibe where things really didn't know.
It felt kind of like they had 80s influence, but they were ushering in a new era.
Yeah. And then by the time it was 97 through 99, everything was very counterculture. And
like new metal and shit started kicking off.
So,
Dude, they were like brothers or cousins, or they were related familially somehow.
Oasis.
And apparently they couldn't get along. That's why they like split up.
Yeah.
They had a reunion tour like last year or some shit like that, I think. But yeah, apparently they like were one of those duos that it got to the point where they were like legitimately having fist fights backstage before concerts and shit.
I didn't know it was that fucking serious between them.
Like, I think one of them knocked the other one's tooth out before a show or some shit one time.
It's like, what are you guys so pissed about? It's never rage. It's never rage on stage, you know?
And then, yeah, they
Not
have,
with
like,
Oasis.
emotional, sad music
Yeah.
and shit.
And backstage, fuck you and your son!
Motherfucker! Like, choking each other out. Shit. Yeah, I'm gonna lean MGK that one, though. I really do like I said, there's some Oasis music, though, that I'm like, this is fucking music here. But
Yeah,
as a collection, I listen to a lot more, like, MGK music, you know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, next up we've got MGK or Mac Miller.
Ooh. Damn. Again, like, you know, obviously, like, Mac Miller hits a weird chord with our generation of people, because it's just like, there was such an era for, and he almost feels like one of those artists, and it's probably because he passed, but like, that, like in the 80s and 90s more so, that generation of kids, they kind of all had stuff that bonded them because they listened to the same music and they watched the same movies and shows, and that's all they had. There's like so much now that we don't always have that to the same level, but like Mac Miller felt like one of those artists that like our whole generation of people, at least like the high school generation of people we went with, like we connect with him.
Yeah.
Because of that, on that level. Because we all had that experience in high school. We all listened to him individually with our groups of friends and had memories connected to his music.
And his story of getting so famous so early, and he was like
So
18,
young.
19, so young, 18, 19, and putting out all these bangers. It was like instantly connecting, you know, tissue for everybody. And
he
just
just felt
resonated with everybody.
He was his own kind of vibe too, because even in the hip hop
Couldn't have happened at a better time when it took off though for him. Like it was 2010, like when Kids came out and all that stuff. And like,
he was like this
so much.
happy-go-lucky white boy stoner that the hip hop artists and community like accepted.
Yeah,
they brought him in and they're like, this guy, he really is. He's the real deal.
Do you think he's the next best white rapper after Eminem? Who is if he isn't? You know? Eminem's got to be number one.
I mean, Eminem is one. It's hard because the Beastie Boys, there's
Yeah.
an argument for their influence, you know, what they did. I mean, I wouldn't say that he is on the level of Eminem, but I am personally a fan of G-Eazy because I had an era he's another artist that I think
Mac
I still
better than
dabble
G-Eazy,
into
though.
G-Eazy music, like his new stuff and whatnot, because I had an era with him and like I still like and respect him as an artist. He's his own kind of vibe though. It's like I don't always want to listen to this like I'm flaunting my fuckboy shit music, but I'm into G-Eazy. You know what I mean? Like Mac Miller isn't always. G-Eazy's always flaunting his fuckboy shit. You know what I mean? Like Mac Miller, he kind of had
his stuff got
he
increasingly
flaunted his fuckboy
sad.
shit too, but he went deep on emotional levels as
His
well.
stuff got a lot less.
Which
like
I will
that.
say, G-Eazy is reaching those levels now too. Like, cause his mom recently passed, and he's had some music about like his mom and different. It happens to artists. You get older, and you're not always the party boy anymore. You know what I mean? Like, other shit happens in your life. MGK can be said for him too. He's a white boy rapper.
Yeah.
different ways. Because even whenever he was like, I don't even know the name of the album, but the album that had like World Series, Until I Die, and OZ, and like those songs and stuff on it. Even that album, it was hip hop, but he would kind of have like a heavy vibe to it. It almost like had rock influence, even at that point.
He probably did, yeah. I'm unsure of some of them. Do you, oh shit, yeah, we're still in Mac, aren't we?
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean in favor of Mac, just for the things I said. Like, just, there's so much emotion and nostalgia and memory tied up in Mac, and it's like...
There it is.
He holds a special place in the heart because you're not going to get anything else, you know, like he's gone.
I mean, they can release unreleased tracks, but there's at a certain point
he left way too soon, so it's like he's just one of those artists where it's like you always
28,
28,
something like that.
Yeah. You always just grab on to
same day I got Leonardo.
This stuff, yeah.
I
just remember that era.
Dude, that was less than 2 weeks after I got back to Missouri.
He was 26.
Wow. Yeah, that was like less than 2 weeks after being back. Boom.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that day specifically. I was closing on a Friday at Pizza Hut.
Crazy.
It was wild, and I remember like exactly.
No, honestly, I remember so much of it still. Like during that period, it's insane. Next up, we've got. So far it is a 6-3 in favor of Machine Gun Kelly. Next up and last, we've got MGK or Def Leppard. Speaking of, I had them on that. And it's kind of funny that you started making a point about them earlier.
Yeah, the Amish kid listen to him. Little fun factoid potentially about my life is that was my parents' like first concert they ever went to. On like their third date, they went and saw Def Leppard. So since that went well, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Is that the justification you're gonna give it?
I mean, if it went shitty, they wouldn't have, went on another date.
Yeah.
If my dad made a total fucking fool of himself, they wouldn't have went on another date.
Well, yeah, but even if honestly the band wasn't great, like you could still have had a great time. You know what I mean? But it is Def Leppard, and I feel like at that point they were already pretty popular anyway.
Oh yeah, that was their era.
Yeah.
And I think they went and saw him in like 83 or some shit like that. They were probably fucking hot at that point.
I'm sure. I think that's when one of the big ones came out, actually. With like Photograph and all that.
Yeah, that's probably their biggest album. That might have even had Pour Some Sugar on Me on it. And,
maybe, yeah. I think they were
Rock of Ages might have been on that album.
Maybe, yeah. It was a bunch of them.
Yeah, they're another they're a great classic rock band, but they're not one of my favorite classic rock bands per se. I do it's kind of, I guess I would say kind of like Oasis, but there's like a few songs where I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah, I get that too. I have way more like MGK songs.
But I mean, I'm more of a overall fan and listener to MGK music as like his overall discography, so I'm gonna go MGK.
Okay. Damn, so that covers it at a 7-3 split. Yeah. And you took Kanye, Wiz, and who was the last one?
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller over him.
Yeah.
The hip hop boys. Oh man. Yeah.
Take a pause real quick.
Yeah, we can. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Back. I believe you are up for music artists.
Yep. Let's see what we got.
And your main, ironically, we haven't really seen that. I mean, I guess if you consider Point Fest, we've seen a number of bands together in concert or music artists. But ironically, another music artist we've seen together in concert, your main is going to be, we like his movies. Rob Zombie. How's it going to hold up in music?
I was thinking about including him, but I wasn't set on it. And yours?
And also, this is ironic because you also incorporated them on your list, but Rob Zombie, first up, or the Beastie Boys?
I think because he's probably got some more hits with me, maybe Rob Zombie than the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
I would probably say.
I just feel like Rob Zombie, as a figure, has had a lot of influence on me because I'm a big horror fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, growing up too, like I remember seeing the Dracula music video on TV as like a kid.
Hellbilly Deluxe. Dude, that was a dope album though.
There's like a home video that we have whenever I was little, and I was like singing songs to the camera because I was like, oh, video me. And I was like singing songs and shit. And Devin came up and I was like, hey, Devin, sing Jingle Bells. Come on, sing Jingle Bells. And he was in like thinking he was a hard ass era, you know? He was probably like 11 or 12. He had like his fucking, his like rat tail shit going on. He's riding a bike around the backyard. He's like, how about I sing some Rob Zombie? Just like rode off on his bike. I'm like, yeah, dude's. I mean, he's he's been around forever.
Oh yeah, White Zombie before that even. Yeah, Rob, man, he's an
artist.
Did my 7th grade project presentation on him. You know,
did you?
Yeah, my like whenever we did that musical like that
Music
semester.
Expo.
Yeah, maybe that quarter I guess we did. I did mine on him. I was gonna do it on like Papa Roach, and then there just wasn't like enough information with them that I could find sources for. Even though like by that time they should have had a decent amount, but I was like, I'll go a little further back and I'll do Rob Zombie. That's fine with me. And so I did that, and I mean, obviously he's got the movies, he's got the music, he's got like that history. So he had definitely a good amount of information on him.
Yeah, I did mine on Kiss.
Did you?
I remember, yeah.
I played the electric guitar in the band they had you do too. That's the one I picked. Harry did like the bass, and then we had a couple other guys do like the drums and the.
I think I did drums.
Whatever the fuck the other instrument was. You did drums? Did you? Yeah, I was like, I can do the electric guitar. Not easy.
Yeah, it's weird. I remember that course so much because it was like a quarter.
Yeah.
But I remember doing the Kiss presentation and everything because mine was one of the more in-depth presentations because I did like an individual slide on each band member.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was kind of like, I kind of wanted to do Motley Crue, but other kid in my class wanted to do Motley Crue too, so we were kind of like debating, and I'm like, I could do Kiss too, like I'd be down with that. So he took Motley Crue.
Yeah. And
then he ended up fucking getting in trouble because Mr. Thomas, the music teacher, could tell based on his presentation because he couldn't pronounce all the words and shit that he copy and pasted everything.
Yeah.
So he fucking busted his ass for it. And I'm like, here we sat here and had this debate and you trashed your whole presentation, bro.
Yeah, I did mine to Rob Zombie. I still remember like a 2nd grade fucking thing I did, and whenever they had us picking presidents, and I didn't pick, but I drew George H.W. Bush, and I did him in that. I'm trying to think of what grade this was, maybe 3rd or 4th, maybe it was 2nd grade. Another report on Jackie Robinson. Like, I remember distinctive things in history, like whenever I picked certain people to like to do whatever it was about.
I remember we had to draw presidents in like 6th grade for do a presentation on them, and I got Zachary Taylor, and I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know anything about him, dude. Yeah. And he was only president for like 16 months. He died from like stomach complications. It was like back in the day.
Crazy.
But at least I didn't get William Henry Harrison because he was only president for 31 fucking days. That would suck.
31 days. And I'm gonna. He just starts and like.
I mean, I'm sure, doing the fucking longest inauguration speech in history.
How do you rank that? 31 days in office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's.
Which is funny is because like after him, because like obviously John Tyler picked up after him because he was Vice, but like the few presidents after him, like Polk and Taylor and stuff, their inauguration speeches were short.
Yeah.
Like, because their party was like, we're not fucking having that happen again.
Yeah. Bad weather. And I'm gonna
get in there.
You're 3 hours.
Say what the fuck you're gonna say and get out of there.
Dude, Abraham, like the Gettysburg Address was famously
pretty damn
short and fucking perfect. Like, just written to perfection.
I mean, the founding fathers,
like
the early presidents, like George Washington, he didn't give a fuck, so he didn't really. His inauguration speeches, they were like a page. But, some of the early guys like Adams and Jefferson and Madison and Monroe, so like, they gave a fucking pretty big speech. Mm-hmm. So it's like, after them guys, there was just an era where they were like, well, I gotta say even more and go even longer. And then, like, once one of them died, and they were like, that could have been a factor in that. They were like, knock it off with these long fucking speeches. Get up there, say your shit, and get out of there.
They should have.
No need to drag on 10 sentences which you can say in one. Just fucking get to the point. But you went Rob Zombie over the Beastie Boys, correct?
Yep.
All right, next up we got Rob Zombie or we got Rihanna.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Even though I like, there's at least a handful of Rihanna songs.
Rihanna had like so many.
Definitely a lot of stuff she's also featured in that were really good.
Yeah. There was like an era though from like middle school through high school where Rihanna, she was dropping at least a hit every year.
Yeah.
If not a few. And most of them were pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like if they came on, it was never going to be a complaint.
She caught a lot of fire at the same time as a lot of these other artists that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I really actually, like, she's not maybe like one of my top female artists or anything, but like, if I really think about it, there's not a lot of Rihanna music that I'm like, like almost any of her hits at least that are like catch some radio time, or at least, because I don't even listen to the radio anymore, or at least like catch fire on stuff and people are playing them. Like, there's never really been one that I'm like, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. She also just seems like a cool vibe. Like, she kind of seems like a cool hang. Rihanna.
No, she's got a great voice too. I would just say personally, probably Rob Zombie.
I always think of that picture of her, like, I think it was Coachella, and she's like out in the crowd at Coachella. But she was like off to the side, and she was on her security guard's shoulders. She had like this big ass security guard, and he's just like standing there, and he's like just holding her, and just like looking. And she's like on his shoulders, and he's like bald, and she's just rolling a joint on his bald head, and he's just like standing there. Like, that's when you reach a level, bro. When you have your own personal security, and you're sitting on their shoulders rolling a joint on their head. Rob Zombie for the win. He's up 2-0.
Yep.
Next up, we got Rob Zombie or we got J. Cole. Different vibes, different eras, but
yeah, for sure. I might actually lean in favor of J. Cole, at least at this moment, by a little bit. That's a tough one though, like, because he's got some great songs, and like I'm not always hyper aware of what he's putting out. I should probably catch up on some of his more recent stuff, I guess. But he does have certainly a wealth of collection of hits and songs that like I connected with. Certainly from the 2014 like Forest Hills like Drive album, and
even that one before that, I forget what it was even called.
He had several
like
in a row, like kind of corresponding with some of the early Kanye albums that were really good too. But that one was just a banger, and like overall, it's gonna be hard for anything to beat that. Although he did have some good songs after as well.
He feels like one of the more like Kendrick's sort of the same way, where they're like very heady kind of rap artists. Like some of their stuff is
Well
they
thought
tell
out.
like a full length story in the song, or they're like it's like they're kind of putting a mirror on society with some of their songs. You know what I mean? They kind of like go a little deeper.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and sometimes I'm in the vibe and in the mood for that, and sometimes I'm like, It just depends. I think that's
And not all of them, because there were some that sounded more like off of even that album.
good. Yeah, just good
Yeah,
vibe music.
yeah, yeah.
But they are the artists too that like branch out into using their voice and their music for like, you know, their thoughts and who they are, kind of thing.
Yeah, I would probably say by a hair at least.
J. Cole for the win, huh? All right. Yeah, I figured that one might lean in favor of him, but I wasn't sure. I just thought it was a good one to throw on there too, since you got that album recently. All right, next up we got Rob Zombie, or we got Korn.
On a personal level, probably Rob Zombie, but I do respect that Korn has had like the longevity they've had, and like certainly a lot of hits and a history within that time. You know, I mean, we listened to Twisted Transistor down there. Like that was the first thing in the basement EHW that Harry came out to. You know.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they were the same way kind of growing up for me, like especially their Follow the Leader album.
They canceled whenever we went to Point Fest that second year because it was Breaking Benjamin and them, and then I think Korn wasn't able to make it because the guy's voice.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, they're one of those bands that I'm like, I ended up finally seeing them, I'm pretty sure, at least. But they're one of those bands that like I almost saw a couple times. And then it didn't end up happening, but they had like a lot of...
You've never seen them still?
A lot of... That's what I was just thinking. I was like, have I seen them?
That's crazy.
I thought I had, but maybe I haven't.
Dude, AC/DC's coming back here like this year. And I'm like...
Where are they going at?
I think the Dome, that's what Nick said.
I'd be down.
I know. I'm like... I told Nick, I was like, I might consider getting one if you go. We should all fucking go. It's like how many more and they actually sound reasonably good still.
I'm still like kicking myself for not, because me and my dad almost like, and I know Nick went to this concert, like we almost went and saw Kiss and Motley Crue.
Oh, and that was one of the last times they would have been.
In like 2011, I think it was, or something like that.
I think you saw them in 2013.
Okay, I was just gonna say I thought it was like 2011 or 2012, but it could have been 13 too. But I'm just like, damn, dude, because those are two bands that I really like.
And after that, like
grew up on.
6 years later, Motley Crue was, instead of actually singing the lyrics to Kickstart My Heart, it was it was like, dude, you're not even saying the fucking words anymore.
I feel like Vince goes through eras too, where he's kind of more put together sometimes, and then sometimes he's like heavier and he's back on the booze a little more, and he kind of goes back and forth with that.
Yeah.
Like, Nikki Sixx is in great health now.
Yeah.
Even though he was, like, one of the furthest in the deep end at a certain era in his life. Mm-hmm. And
probably the furthest.
Tommy Lee, too. Like, Tommy Lee still smokes cigarettes and I'm sure weed and stuff like that, and drinks a little bit, but he's not on anything crazy. And
yeah.
Mick Mars, obviously, like, I think he's not even part of the band anymore. Because they're having another
spat. They
casted
him out, but he was also getting really.
I mean, Kiss was the same way.
Really incapable of doing some of the stuff.
Like they eventually booted Ace Frehley out of the band. Mm-hmm. Like, it happens with rock bands a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Like, Van Halen, dude, they kicked David Lee Roth out of the band for a while. It's like, that's your fucking singer.
Yeah.
They brought Sammy Hagar in, it was kind of cool, but people called him Van Hagar because it wasn't even like the same band
in
anymore.
The era where like people actually knew the names of like all the people in the band because they were like that big, you know?
Because they were rock stars.
Yeah,
you know?
Rock stars for sure.
But yeah, I was like, man, I still kind of kicked my. That's like the one concert that I'm like, it was right there. In
That
the
was one of the
palm our
last
hands,
times,
and
I'm
we
sure.
didn't fucking go.
Yeah, it was one of the last times I'm sure Motley Crue sounded fucking like, and like I want them to, but it's just like I've seen the way Vince sings some of these songs and it looks fucking awful.
And I mean, they're all. It's just the fact too. Like the fact of the matter is, they're all getting old, man.
Well, yeah, no, but
Like-
it was like just lazy. Like he wouldn't actually pronounce any of the words. He was saying it like the way the song sounds, but he wasn't actually saying the lyrics.
Yeah. And I mean, but even like Kiss at this point, it's not the same band, you know. It's not Peter Criss or Ace Frehley
Yeah.
anymore. It's Gene Simmons. Like I love
And
Kiss,
Paul, yeah.
and I love that band. Like, yeah, Paul Stanley's probably my favorite of the band. Always has been. But like, I respect what Gene did for music, but he's also just like. Some of the shit you usually like see in interviews and stuff sometimes, it's just like, bro.
I'm gonna market that, and
It's all trying to make a buck and also kissing his own ass. That's all he ever does. So, like,
yeah, I would say that was one of my best.
I mean, we really changed the scene when we did that 1978. That was fucking 50 years ago, dude. Move the fuck on.
Fuck it. So what was the last one?
Let's see here. I'm getting carried away.
They've
here.
been fucking.
You
doing
took
it a
Rob
long
Zombie
time.
over Korn.
Yeah, I did.
So Rob Zombie's up 3-1.
3-1.
Next up, we got Rob Zombie, or I brought him up in your segment, G-Eazy. We also saw him, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, he did, and I still listen to him too. Like, there's definitely songs that I still have and listen to. Like, I haven't caught up with what he's done in the last couple of years, at least, but he's definitely had some real bangers that really connected with me in that like time span, you know, especially that like 2015 to 17 like era. Well, no, actually, not even just that. Technically, really like 2011, going back to like whenever I really started listening to him first. Yeah, I didn't start listening, or I didn't. It wasn't too long after I heard of and started listening to Mac Miller that I listened to him for the first time. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There's like a good handful of his songs still from a much different era for me that still like hit the same way. Where I'm like, oh fuck yeah. Like especially if I'm just shuffling my music and it randomly comes
That When
on,
It's
I'm
Dark
like,
Out album.
hell yeah, dude.
That When It's Dark Out, or When It's Dark Out album changed the game too. Like so many more people became fans like once that happened. But I already knew who he was for a few years.
And The Beautiful and the Damned were both really like good individual hip hop albums though. Like they had their own vibe. Like
These Things
Easy,
Happen.
Full. Oh yeah, that was a great album too.
Mm-hmm. Man. I may say for the chunkage of songs, I may lean in favor of G-Eazy, but that's tough. It might be merited on that circumstance. But I do think it might be true. I don't know. I haven't listened to either one of them too much. I mean, obviously during like horror season, I listen to Rob a little more. But sometimes I'll just make a collection of like some of the songs I'm listening to during that time. But I may give it to G-Eazy by a little bit.
Yeah.
Choff, it's just not one that you thought to compare either. So.
Yeah, totally different vibes and eras and everything. All right, so 3-2. Next up, we got Rob Zombie or Bon Jovi. Dude, Bon Jovi's one of those bands too that like it's really weird that I caught on to liking them as much as I did because like I really like Bon Jovi and it's they're one of those bands that like they also kind of get a lot. You can poke a lot of fun at them in certain ways, and they are a little, in ways you could say basic, but they also have dabbled in a lot of different kinds of shit throughout their eras, and they've lasted the test of time.
Yeah.
But like, my dad and Devin, like neither of them really fucked with Bon Jovi. Neither of them really liked them. They were like, and like, I just kind of started listening to them more, kind of, because I always liked a handful of their songs, you know, like Slippery When Wet is like a fucking just a banger of an album. So like I always listened to a couple of their songs, but I started kind of dabbling more in them, and I'm like, yeah, they're, I guess you could say kind of basic, but dude, they're a fucking vibe.
They got some great stuff.
Oh,
We've entered in before with Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Have a Nice Day. Have a Nice Day and I know that that's later than maybe their heyday, but that was like, and they were still pretty popular. That's my favorite song of theirs, period.
That like album.
Such a great album, I thought.
Like, they kind of got popular again because there's a few hits on that album because they kind of like, they switched it up, you know? They like went a whole other direction with that album.
Banger. Have a Nice Day is such a banger of a song. I think the album was called that, actually, because that was the hit.
Yeah, they also had, man, what were some of the other songs on that album? Was it It's My Life? Was that on that album?
No, that was earlier than that. That was earlier. I think that was either 90s or early 2000s.
There was another big one on that album.
It's My Life was great, though. Yeah, this could be controversial, too. I don't know. I think I may take Bon Jovi by a hair. That's tough. I don't know. That's a really tough one, too. Definitely different vibes. Rob is just a personality, too, even outside of some of the songs.
That was on that album.
Okay. Yeah, and then obviously they have a lot of like barroom bangers that still get played to this day all the time. So does Journey. Like, people always play AC/DC, like Bon Jovi, Journey, and like in the bar. Oh, I turn it on. Some melon wine and chip and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, like all that shit always ends up coming on.
So I mean, there was a few songs like, because they had some bangers before Slippery When Wet, like Bad Medicine and Runaway and those kind of, but like
I'm gonna go with Bon Jovi by the way.
Dude, yeah, Slippery When Wet had a few songs on that album where it was like, those songs transcended decades and are still like bangers and big hits.
Which is interesting because I'm sure if somebody had to ask you, oh, who do you like more or whatever, most people would probably think I like to write. And like, it doesn't mean that, because like I do love Rob Zombie as an artist and like as a filmmaker and like as a, you know, everything he's done. But it's like, I don't know, in terms of music, like the collection of songs they have that hit with me is probably similar in terms of how many of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a tough one.
So you're gonna lean in favor of Bon Jovi.
Yeah, surprisingly or not.
All right, so that ties it up 3-3. Next up, we got Rob Zombie, or we got the hometown legend, Nelly. I feel like as a kid, I loved Nelly. It was like,
hot in here.
He was like the artist, like the hip hop artist whenever I was like a little kid that I kind of vibed to. Like Ride With Me too, that was like a big one. I mean, he had a handful. That Nellyville album was like pretty huge for him.
Yeah. No, he definitely had some bangers.
And like, honestly, I feel like my parents were kind of into him because he was the local boy, you know? Grills, that was like a big song. He was kind of like
Just a Dream, like all those years later.
Oh yeah,
that was a pretty good song.
The vibe,
but
Broke, that was like another one on that album that was pretty good. He is kind of like the local legend though, because there's not a lot of like major music artists out of St. Louis.
Yeah.
And he really made it. He really repped St. Louis. Like
he does, yeah.
In like the early 2000s, he was a big deal in the hip hop scene. So it's like, even still to this day, he's like local legend in a way where it's like, oh, his house went up for sale, or oh, he did that. Like, he'll still pop up for this or that around here. oh, Nelly spent this much at the casino over the weekend. It's like you still hear about him every now and then.
I would probably say Rob Zombie by a little bit on that, because like Nelly's had his eras where he's came back and into the fold and everything, and you listen to like whatever he's putting out or what he's got going on. I certainly respect what he's done and the fact that he's a St. Louis boy, but I think I'm going to lean in favor of Rob by a little bit.
Yeah, I might agree with you. Hot in Here though, all-time wedding song, dude. That song's probably gonna.
Dude, I just watched Wedding
Crashers
Crashers like fucking last week for the first time in a while, and I'm like, God damn, that is, because it's such a dense like romantic comedy in a lot of ways, but it's like one of my favorites of all time. Like, because it's actually a lot more of a nuanced comedy than you would think.
Yeah.
Because there's so much story to it, really.
Vince Vaughn was just.
He was on fire. At that point too. He's the man, dude. Even the stuff he said lately, totally agree with it.
He's just on Theo's podcast.
Yeah, totally agree with him on most fucking things.
Yeah, I haven't listened to
it either
yet,
but
I mean, he's one of those guys too. Where I was actually having this conversation with my dad, where it's like he's like Will Ferrell. They're not the same at all, but it's like they have their style of what they do. And you're either kind of into that or you're not into that. Yeah. Like, I've met people that are like, oh, dude, I love Vince Vaughn, or I love Will Ferrell. Yeah. And then people that are like, I cannot stand their movies.
I've heard way more people say they don't like Will Ferrell, though.
Because he's a little more obnoxious. Yeah.
I know, I mean, I love Will Ferrell.
But Vince Vaughn is obnoxious in his own way, but I like it. Where he has this, like, his scatterbrain. Like,
it's so witty and, like...
talks over himself.
Yeah. It's awesome though. I love Wedding Crashers. Like, I've always been like, oh man, that's probably my top 25. Like, it might even be one of the last spots, but like, it's such a I still love watching it, and I haven't seen it in a long time until last week. But yeah, it's one of the all-timers, because it's like, it's not just like a romantic comedy. Like, it's got a powerful romantic element to it while being extremely fucking funny. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've always loved that one.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was a pretty big comedy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Still, it's kind of stood the test of time,
Then that dude that played the dickhead in Sling Blade, he's in that too. He's like at the very beginning, like whenever they're like doing the divorce stuff at the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's so funny that it starts there and ends up like where it ends up after that whole fucking journey, though.
He's like mainly a music artist that popped up in some films.
Yeah. He was in several of those things with them, like Vince Vaughn projects and shit.
Mm-hmm. I guess it makes sense with Billy Bob too, since he was like, he had a band and shit, kind of like a country band. That's probably how he even like connected with that dude. So you're gonna take Rob Zombie over Nelly.
Yep.
And give him the lead 4-3.
All right.
Next up, we got Rob Zombie, or we got Post Malone.
Oh man, I don't know, man. Like, I've liked a lot of the stuff. I'm not saying everything, but like every album that Post has released, I've definitely liked a handful of songs for pretty much every one of them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, some of them are really good, and like even the country one that he put out, songs by himself and songs like with people, I thought were really fucking well done, and they sounded good, and they sounded in tune and made sense. And he's one of those people that can probably make if he wants to make like a rock album, he could probably make that. You know what I mean? And that pop one, the one with Morning and Chemical and all the a couple of years before that, was pretty good too. I really like that one. It kind of like, he's dabbled certainly in other directions post doing some of the strictly more rap and hip hop stuff he started with, But it's interesting that he can do all this stuff because he just loves music so much that he goes in all these different directions and excels in almost, pretty much every one of them, I would say.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he's a talented artist. I'd probably lean in Post Malone's favor by a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
At least the way, you know what I mean, in terms of like the diversity of his music and like the appealing, and you know what I mean, he's gonna get shit played almost everywhere. You know what I mean? Because he connects to so many different levels of people.
Yeah, he's another artist that, like, out of the modern artists, like I said, I'm not really super caught up or in tune with all the modern artists, but I obviously know a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm, like, probably as big of a fan as some people are of him, because some people are really crazy about him.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had any, like, distaste for him either, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to. He's in so much stuff.
Seems like a nice
works with
guy,
everybody.
too.
Yeah, and he's still pretty young, and he's put out so much great stuff with people, and everybody wants to work with him. It seems like so. It's kind of like him and Taylor Swift have been like sort of the huge names for a while.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like collective popularity.
Post.
I think by a little bit. Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Well, ironically, arguably the biggest artist of this generation. Next up, we got Rob Zombie or Taylor Swift.
Oh man. I mean, me personally, I've listened to a lot more Rob Zombie than Taylor Swift, but like I will acknowledge that she's put out well thought out music that
And
has appealed to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Being the age we are,
She's
and,
pretty
like,
clever
how
with
long
her-
she's been around.
Her song making, if you've ever seen stuff about
Yeah.
the way she releases
And
stuff.
she writes all her own stuff, and is
Uh-huh.
she's very much seems like an artist. But like, at the age we are and how long she's been around within our lives, like
20 years.
you would be lying if you said you have not heard and know well at this point a handful of her
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
You know,
She's got some really, really like well thought out songs that are, you know, even that like 10-minute version of her All Too Well song, like whenever she went through a breakup and stuff, it was so dense, but it was actually a really good song. And I mean, there's been some other songs. Like I honestly still think like Love Story was a great song. And
I mean,
I would
yeah,
say the
honestly,
same-
all
I
her
would say the
different eras,
same-
She's had some.
I would say the
music.
same thing for the album with Sparks Fly and like Enchanted and a few of those other songs on it, because that was where she kind of started bridging from country to like a little more pop music, her third one. But she had some really good songs off that. I thought that then. I still think that now, even though we went down plenty of times where fucking me and Haley and Mom were in the car and they were blasting like her second album, like not the Teardrops on Your Guitar and Tim McGraw one, but the Love Story and fucking all that stuff, you know? And they would just... So Haley like grew up, you know, listening to her and stuff too, and I think she still listens to her from time to time. But yeah, she's been around and been relevant, like as popular and as powerful as ever. Like she's made herself a billionaire, and I mean, I heard she's obviously takes good care of her crew and makes sure everybody's paid for and well-to-do and stuff. So I'm like, I think it's I definitely think she's earned what she's gotten. Me personally, I would say I'm more of a fan of Rob Zombie, but I can acknowledge a lot of what other people would dismiss about Taylor Swift in a good light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I'll put it.
All right. So Rob, for the win, that makes it 5-4 heading into the final round.
Oh shit!
And last but not least, we got Rob Zombie or we got Nirvana.
See, I was never like. I really grew up in like listening like Smells Like Teen Spirit and like some of those other songs off of like.
And the funny thing is, a
those
lot of
albums-
Nirvana, like Nevermind,
Yeah.
so many great songs on that album. But like a lot of Nirvana fans, like people that really are into Nirvana, do not even like Smells Like Teen Spirit because they're like, that was such the overplayed radio hit.
It was.
of theirs
But we grew up even in the 2000s, like listening to that and some of the other ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really like had a taste for them as much as like Stevens did. You know what I mean? Got really into them.
Yeah. His Nirvana was like my Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, it was kind of like this, not the same band, but sort of similar eras and kind of vibes. And I was like more into them, and he was more into Nirvana.
Yeah.
But I also acknowledge, like, especially Nevermind, that there's just like
Yeah. There is.
iconic music from them. and they're also kind of like Mac Miller, like because of what happened with Kurt Cobain and everything.
A quick rise up and a real short fall down.
And he felt like he was a tortured artist too throughout their run. So it was kind of just like they live on in a different kind of light because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you mean though. Like I definitely, as a fan of music and rock music, and like I respect a lot of what Nirvana did, and there's a handful of their songs too that I'm like quite the fan of. But
yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm like a huge fan of theirs, you know.
I would probably lean slightly in favor of Rob Zombie, but I certainly like respect the cultural ushering in of Nirvana and like what they've done. A lot of people were like, "Oh, they ruined it," but it's like it was kind of going to change the vibe after a while, regardless. You know what I mean? It was just who was going to be the first to the wall, and they certainly have a solid amount of songs that I think stand the test of time, and people remember them, especially for like the way it ended for Cobain and all that. Maybe if I listened to them a little more thoroughly and all around some of the stuff that they put out, because I have before, but it's not something I regularly recycle in my music, I would feel differently. I don't know. But I do respect what they've done, but I think I'm going to take Rob personally, slightly over him.
All right. So that gives him the official win, 6-4.
6-4. Oh, wow. He got it.
Yeah. He eked out the win.
Well, do you want to take a break, come back in with the movie reviews, give each other new films, and then hit them with a good couple of rounds of Good, the Bad, and the Shits?
Yep, sounds good.
Alrighty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Casting the Spotlight, episode number 222, where all the numbers line up. And next up, we've got some movie reviews to do for The Fly from 1986 and The Fugitive.
Yes.
And before giving each other new films for this next time. So what do we want to start with?
Well, I guess we can start with The Fly and watch that one first.
Yep.
And that's that's one that I had seen a few times at this point now, but I don't know, I feel like I liked it the first time I saw it, but I grew to appreciate it to another level the older I got and the more like kind of in the weeds of the horror genre I got. I was like, it's kind of one of those transcendent like horror sci-fi mashup films, because it's the first third of it almost feels like a different movie.
Yeah,
than
it's
the middle
very
of it.
science fiction feeling for a while.
And it's like a sci-fi comedy romance, the first third of it. And then it kind of turns into like, the middle is, I don't know, like a psychological horror, because it's like, that's when Jeff Goldblum kind of really starts turning into what he's turning into. Like, he changes, you know, he's not himself anymore. And then the last third of it's like a true horror tragedy, basically. At that point, he's like, he completely loses what he is. But it's kind of like you said, you didn't even know what to really think going into it.
Honestly, I didn't know if a terrifying big ass fly just started tearing up the city or what the fuck was going on. Like, to some people, that's probably the image that pops into your mind. You're like, it's just called The Fly? Like, what do you mean? You know, but I really did appreciate the scientific overhang like on it, to where they kept it more to sci-fi horror and like kind of gave a reasoning to why it'll happen, rather than just kind of, because like when he started becoming and taking the fly shape and form more and more and more and losing his humanity, it was actually done a lot more to, you know, a I feel like to a dense level than I really thought it would.
Yeah, it was very thought out. For sure, the transformation.
Because he was getting a little weirder, and more twitchier and just kind of a little creepy and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck?
He was also losing his like human element of
Yeah.
like sensitivity and care. Like he got to a point where literally before he lost his humanity, it was like before he started transforming in a physical way, he transformed like mentally and emotionally first.
Yeah.
Basically, because he didn't care about like that was the first kind of relationship he even had basically in his life, and he was really like taking that with care and a certain delicacy, and then once he lost that his humanity, he like just threw his relationship away because all he was trying to do was exercise, eat, and reproduce. That was it.
Yeah.
Because he was turning into more of an insect.
Yeah.
And he was like trying to force people to go through the machine because that's what he thought did that to him. So he wanted somebody else like him.
It's so crazy that all happened because he got morphed like with a fly, like in whenever
The fly got in there with him.
That's such a little minor thing, but it's like it can literally change it all just by that fly getting in there.
Because like
because it like more it kind of like
morphed
intertangled
their genes,
their DNA.
together.
Yeah.
They like made them one.
That's crazy
absorbed
considering the fly is such a tiny fucking speck of how much a human is.
Mm-hmm.
But that DNA completely fucked him up.
Yeah, I mean it would if it spliced your DNA together and just made it like one band. Basically, you would come out completely fucked up. You'd be like half insect.
Yeah, parts of it got a little like that, and I really liked how it started to feel towards like the ending. Like it wasn't just, I feel like it was actually a pretty cool concept, and like I know obviously that wasn't the first rendition of the Fly like idea, but I definitely know you think the 80s version is probably like the better one.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the 50s one for what it is because it's also a Vincent Price movie, and Vincent Price is just like a classic horror legend.
Yeah.
He's done so much, and that's kind of his era, like the 50s and 60s. So like I appreciate it on its own level, but I think like David Cronenberg's The Fly from the 80s is like it's a lot more dense of a story. And I mean, just the practical effects in that movie too. Like what they were able to pull off even in 86. Like I don't know if they could do it better today because it wouldn't be done with the same amount of love and care that it was done then, because that was a whole costume, that was made by hand basically, and it looked great.
Dude, Jeff Goldblum too, and like I never really criticized him. I didn't have too many opinions of him, but I don't have any reason to dislike him either. But he did a really good job in that movie, transforming into. Yeah. So like
that's what I said like even last week when I gave you that movie. It was kind of like The Fly is kind of like the Jeff Goldblum show. In ways, he really is like the lead. It's sort of his movie. Like Gina Davis has a huge role in that movie as well.
But he's the one who kind of becomes the
he's
character.
Like for sure the main character. The story sort of revolves around him and his story.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Honestly, it was a lot different than I didn't really know what to expect. I was kind of but that's more centric to like, oh, he's gonna become the Fly, rather as opposed to the Fly being like an outside threat. I didn't even know that aspect of the movie, whether it was like that or if it was just something, threaten the people kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I mean, he would if he had.
That's what I mean. It almost made the movie feel really more like it was like a horror sci-fi, and it was like a creature feature as well, but it was also like a drama tragedy in ways, because like he was a decent dude, he was like just trying to work on this machine of teleportation. Like he was like just this extremely smart astrophysicist, like just this nerd that worked alone in this garage on this teleportation device, and kind of started this romance with this journalist, and then this happened to him, you know? And he turned into this thing that was going to end up being a murderous creature that lost all its humanity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he had enough there at the very end, you know, to stay.
Yeah, he had the good
Put me
conscience
down, man.
too to ask for the bullet in his head, and then she still didn't want to do it for a minute.
You had to. Dude, at that point,
It's over.
that's what I even said. I would have blown him away, dude.
Yeah.
It's a creature at that point. As much as you, even if you don't want to accept it, it's like, what you are now, like coming out of that, because he got morphed with the like pod, so he was like part machine even at that point. It was like, there was no coming back from that.
No.
You can't even splice your DNA with something. It's just gonna fuck other people up. You're never gonna return.
It's the ratio is too insane. Like he's just no longer a person at that point.
But yeah, like I said, like Cronenberg has a legacy within the, especially like horror sci-fi realm, like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. He even made stuff semi-recently within the 2020s. And his son makes movies now, Brandon Cronenberg, as well. But that still might be my favorite of his like directed movies.
Yeah, it was solid. It was.
Because he also acts in films as well. Like Nightbreed, he was in that, like that Clive Barker movie. He was like the serial killer in that movie, and I thought he was pretty damn good in that. It was like the early 90s. He was just in Ready or Not 2 that we saw. So yeah, he's been around within the horror sphere for like a long, long time.
The horror sphere.
But that still just feels like his shining
Feather in the
moment.
cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting one. And like it made me feel a certain way, and like especially like if anything can, like with movies, you know, and through film and through the messaging and everything else too, it's like that's always a compliment to it, because I'm like, oh fuck, like it just started getting creepy because you saw him just turn from human to like just getting this, you know, complete fly-esque DNA turnabout, and he wasn't even the same person. So
he just transformed into. It's kind of wild because it's like their DNA paired, but he got ultimately fucked because he completely lost who he was.
Yeah.
Wasn't even like he was the same guy at all. He didn't have the mind of himself at all or anything.
And morphing his DNA with somebody else is just not a good idea, because he was increasingly getting worse anyway. It's like even having that baby that's going to be fucking part fly, you don't want to do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was rough. That was also like a dense part of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the time and period that it was released in too. Like, what would you do, you know?
Yeah.
This is like, you wouldn't want to have that.
No.
It's part insect, for sure. It's like, you can't take
to keep it alive.
You can't take, it's the last part of me.
Yeah.
You're really gonna kill baby Brundle? Or whatever the fuck he said. It's
no.
Like, you're not Brundle anymore. You're Brundle Fly, bro.
But he was
and you're
trying to
more
get her
Fly.
Yeah. He was trying to get her to feel bad. But, no, it was a good one.
Yeah.
I guess, no, I really feel like we picked two, like, because it's just interesting sometimes like what we pick and what like lines up together. But I'm like, I did think that we both kind of knew too. We're like, oh, this is gonna be an interesting week of watches for, you know, they're like two sort of older movies too, even before our time.
Mm-hmm.
And their movies we had both seen separately like several times, so that was like a good one to introduce. Until like Tommy Lee Jones got put on my movie or the actors list several weeks back, I wouldn't have even thought to pull out The Fugitive, and then I was like, oh fuck, that's actually a good time to watch it. It's been like 7 years since I'd watched it. But yeah, getting to getting to The Fugitive, one of Harrison Ford's all-time, I think, performances, especially outside of the two main franchises he's always been a part of. And Tommy Lee Jones,
Lee as well, yeah.
great. They both, I think, got put up for some of the best. That won a couple of awards. I forget what it was, but I definitely think they both got nominated for leading actor and supporting actor.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee may have won, but I don't know for sure. Harrison too. It was a fucking great performance. It was like,
yeah. That's what I mean. It felt, and I mean, yeah, Tommy Lee. It was enough to earn him a sequel as that character again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'd be kind of interested to check that out too, just because.
U.S. Marshals.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, so obviously, like, you know, it's a cat and mouse game. He thinks that he did the murder that he didn't actually commit. So Harrison Ford's on the run. Dr. Richard Kimball. And, you know, one of those rare movies is kind of why I did it in the month of March, because I was like, it actually takes place, like, during that St. Patty's Day, like, overlap and stuff. So I always kind of thought that was interesting. You don't see, like, a whole lot of movies that take place in that time frame, I don't feel like mid-March, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool, because they very much placed it in a spot in time.
Mm-hmm.
The river dyed green, and
yeah,
in Chicago. Yeah, he was like, it almost felt like one of those movies too, where it was like, dude, you are innocent. Like,
did you ever think at even the beginning or anything, you're like, maybe did he actually do it?
Well, I thought, yeah, I did question it a few times, but it was like, I also felt like I was like, they are hunting you so hard. They're like on your tail the entire way, and you are running your ass off. It's like, you are innocent. At a certain point, you got to give it in, dude, because you've got a whole nationwide manhunt, basically, at this point. Yeah. And you really know, if you really know you're innocent, the longer that you're like on the lam trying to be like, oh, like hide out, I get that it was like making a point, like, because he was actually trying to prove his innocence.
What a little fucker.
The longer that it's that time of year.
I know.
The longer that he...
It's the only downside.
Got a spider on the wall. He's just trying to listen to the podcast.
Is that actually a spider or is that something else?
That's a spider, okay, I'm pretty sure.
Like it. Boy, I need to get my contacts updated. But no, where you were saying? If he knows he's innocent. He wanted, but he was also on the run.
He was trying to prove his innocence.
Exactly. Like, long enough to where he's like, if I can figure this the fuck out, like, I'm going to do it and kind of get myself up at the right time, which is why he did that. And Dr. Charles Nichols, like, he turned out his friend fucking deleted a lot of the information about, like, the samples that were pulled that day. That, like, his wife, you know, she got killed, and and the guy, that's the guy he thought he could trust.
I know. Yeah, that was
Dr. Charles Nichols
being the flipping it on its head thing. Mm-hmm. Like, cause he was the guy that was talking to him even when he was on the run and shit a little bit.
Gave him some money.
Mm-hmm.
Which made him less suspicious, because it's like, oh, if you're helping him out, you clearly, you know, want the best for him. It's like, nope. He was trying to fucking make sure Richard didn't come after him.
Yeah.
At least initially.
But I mean, yeah, it's like, I guess he also had to get, that was the point too, is he had to get Tommy Lee Jones, his character, to the point of being like, you gotta believe me that I'm innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the longest time he was on the run and he's like, I didn't do it. And like at the very beginning, it was like, he was like, I don't care, you know, because it was like, he's just doing his job.
Yeah.
He's just trying to get the bad guy because that's what he's out here to do.
Because he's like, it's not personal, it's because that's what I'm supposed to fucking be doing out here. You know?
But he had, because that like stuck in Harrison Ford's mind too. Like, he was like, Because he brought that up later. He's like, whenever I said I didn't kill my wife, you said I don't care.
Yeah. Like he took it like like that he was kind of being in like a heartless sort of manner.
Yeah.
And dude, like just earlier in the movie too, whenever like you could tell too just by how good Harrison Ford actually is, and like at the end of the day, he is a pro's pro, even though he's largely known for Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and like gave great performances in those. He's still an actor's actor, and he is just a pro's pro, man. Like he just sells it so fucking well. And like at the beginning, you could see on his face too, whenever he was being interrogated, like kind of like biting at his teeth and fingernails. He didn't even expect that they were gonna flip it on him and be like, "Oh, so did she have some sort of life insurance policy?" Then he's just like, "Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, That's why you think that I?" Because he thought he was like he just wanted them to find the person, and then he just was gonna like break down. It's like that shit just happened. And he's like, he couldn't believe that they like spun it on him. He's like, I fought with this man. He's like, you fight this man. Just talking about like, because he actually fucking did. He's like, he had one hand. He had like
that would be
if you
insane.
You wouldn't believe. You'd be like if you were actually like, are you fucking kidding me?
You're gonna throw me in fucking prison?
Yeah. It's like. So I mean, he's just sold it on his face like so well that like I guess he just assumed like the system would be better at proving like his in his innocence than he was, and he couldn't believe that like him and his wife like victims of the circumstance, and he's gonna end up going to prison for life for it. It's like, what the fuck? But if he really thought he could prove it, and that was reason to stay on the run,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those classic fucking just action movies, and it's a little bit of a thriller. Like it had kind of a dark side to it because it was the murder and everything, and
it was like a cat and mouse aspect to it for sure. But it was also kind of like it was also a mystery thriller because he was like trying to weave the web of solving this murder.
And that one son of a bitch with the goofy ass hair, fucking.
What is it? A trench coat convention?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know any Richard Kimball. It's like, you're full of shit, man. And then Tommy Lee, and he's just like, no, there's red flags all over that guy. But he was exceptional in his job too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing. That was kind of when he turned the corner. Because once he led him to his house.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like looked around a little bit and he talked to the guy. He was kind of like, something's up here.
Yeah. Yeah, where he started flipping. And he's like, oh, maybe he didn't actually do it. And then whenever he announced to him that he's just like, I know you didn't kill your wife, Richard. Like the very end, like close to the end of the third act. And he's like, okay. He's like, I actually might be able to live through this fucking situation. Because he was just on the run, on their own, trying to avoid getting shot and killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 90s fucking classic, I think, and definitely a Harrison Ford prominent part,
Yeah. Outside of, like, one of his major character roles.
Yeah. I would say, like, a lot of people put that up, Blade Runner and stuff like that, is some of his biggest ones outside of the two major franchises.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty big movie for him and Tommy Lee, so. Glad to have seen it. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely kind of cool because we kind of had a blast from the past sort of week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that won't be the last time, though.
No, I mean, we've given each other older movies multiple weeks.
Should we do the next round here?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
All right. You want to throw yours out there?
Yeah, I actually don't know if you've seen this movie or not. There was a handful that I was going to pick from, and I haven't seen this one in, like, quite a while at this point. Cowboys and Aliens.
Unless me and you watched it any time in the last, like, 10 years, I don't think that I've watched it like fully.
Yeah.
That's another one of those movies that was on Dish or DirecTV or whatever the fuck. They're like, oh, it's on FX. I'll flip it on for a minute. That I do that a few times, but I don't think I've ever actually sat down and watched it. That isn't Harrison Ford in that?
Yep. That's
Fuck yeah!
Why I brought it in
Fuck yeah!
this week. It's him and Daniel Craig who are
No,
like
dude,
the leads.
Harrison Ford's one of my favorite actors of all time, honestly.
See, I feel like Cowboys and Aliens was an underrated concept. Kind of dope that they did that as a movie. But because I actually went with like, this is a crazy group, and I'm pretty sure it was me, Tyler, Kim, Roger, Aaron, and we just had on, and Colton. I think that was the group.
Oh, really? What year did that come out?
2011.
Oh, it was later than I thought then. Okay. For some reason, I thought it came out in like 07. I didn't know that for sure. Actually, that's a date I really was off by. I didn't know for sure.
And I just so I have fond memories of it, and I always because of the concept of the movie and who's in it. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude! I love a western. I love sci-fi. Mixing this shit. This is cool.
And it's Harrison Ford, who's been in kind of a variation of both.
Yeah. And Daniel Craig, I mean, he's nothing to sleep on either.
No,
he's
not. He definitely is. Even though I haven't really seen like any of the 007 movies.
I've definitely seen Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace and Skyfall.
Skyfall is apparently fucking great.
Yeah, those are the first three.
But 007. Maybe I should watch some James Bond stuff after completing the Clint Eastwood trilogy. I still have those two other ones. And actually, Melvin gave me another one to watch, like that Denzel Washington movie, John Q. And I'm like, oh, I've never seen that. I thought about checking that out too, because I've been watching like Denzel movies for like months, like at least a few here and there.
He's a good one.
Getting into different areas of trying to kind of corner a lot of my film knowledge and figure out, see some of the stuff I've never seen.
Yeah. Okay, you got Cowboys and Aliens this time.
Which, speaking of that, this will open up.
So here's the thing with my movie too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're even going to necessarily really think this is great or not. I remember always kind of being let down by it because I wanted it to be more than it was. Maybe my opinion will change.
We'll see.
I'm a little.
I knew that I was like, I don't know if that'll be like.
A few times.
I am surprised by this time though in my life after this long. I've still never seen like the whole thing of that. So we'll open up a new door for you. You may have seen this if you glanced over here. But one that I didn't see until 2 years ago, whenever the new one came out. But it's finally time here. What do you think? This really isn't an opinion, I guess, now. But your movie swap film this time around will be the original Planet of the Apes from 1968.
Oh, yeah. I actually... Because I am a fan of like more classic movies and some of that stuff too. That's actually kind of exciting because I've never seen that movie. That's kind of like a hole in my film watching journey. Obviously,
you get the concept. I mean, you've seen some of the new ones, but as I've said before on this podcast, like not too much longer after we got these mics and headphones and the all new equipment, and we all saw. With Papa, Linda, Haley, and like me and you, the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Like whenever I went back and watched 1 through 5, the originals, and I mean Planet of the Apes, the original is like one of the most respected probably sci-fi movies of all time, and the kind of stuff that they did, it rated insanely high too. But I'll just read this for you. But it says Planet of the Apes is a classic science fiction film directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, starring Charlton Heston, as an astronaut who crash lands on a planet where intelligent talking apes dominate mute primitive humans. So, and then the little extra information here is the film. It says based on a French novel, is famous for its groundbreaking prosthetic makeup, social commentary on prejudice and evolution, and its iconic twist ending revealing the planet is Earth. Oh wow, just said that. You kind of knew that though,
Yeah.
because you've seen the Statue of Liberty and stuff at the end.
Yeah.
From like different. That's been in like Jay and Silent Bob, and like they were obviously alluding to like the apes whenever they showed that. So I knew through some way or shape or form you knew that was the case. Yeah, because we went into it and I was like, but the interesting thing is the old one kind of starts where there's a whole lot of in between. Obviously, you don't know. But it's the way they do it. It's so fucking interesting. Even from where the crash land happens at the beginning, through like what they go through, and you realize all these things, and you're like, oh my god. And I know we talked about it on here, so I double know that that's not spoiling anything too, because I'm like, I know we kind of talked about it in some way, shape, or form before, because the way I described it is like the beginning of it was not really even where the new trilogy or the new franchise of like the reboots are, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like this is like the number one is like after it's obviously already taken over by the Planet of the Apes. Mm-hmm. So like it doesn't start as a prequel, it starts as like this is life and this is kind of what happened. So it almost like reveals stuff through time, and we talked about this too before, because I know I was talking about Caesar's birth and like that is in 3, and then he takes shit over in 4. Some of those, man, obviously were much better than others. Number 1 though, man, it is the best one out of those original 5 without a doubt, because the concept is breakthrough. The prosthetics and the makeup, especially for that era, are honestly, it seems kind of silly now too, but if you really, and you'll appreciate it, but it's so ahead of its time for that time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was really impressed by the first one, even though I knew subtle, like we just talked about, like I knew subtle things about it. I was still like, the way they did it, it was so fucking well done. Especially for that time, it came out in 68. It was a long time ago. So, yeah. But they did a hell of a job. And like, that's why I was like, man, whenever it gets a little warmer, I'm like, it almost makes a little sense. Like an action adventure movie, good Planet of the Apes, like the original, throw it back out there. It's by far the best out of those 5, in my opinion. 4 is probably after that. But 1 was just amazing because of the groundwork it laid for like a lot of what action adventure movies became to, after that. Because I mean, Star Wars didn't come out till 9 years after that came out, and fuck, by then all 5 of the Planet of the Apes had happened. Yeah, they made them like it was like
it was pretty early.
I think it was like 68 and then 70, 71, 72, 70, or maybe there's a skipped year in there somewhere through like 73. So they made like 5 of them within like 7 years. Beneath the Planet of the Apes is 2, and 2. That was the one that I was talking about where I was like, yeah, in the third act, the movie just fell apart. I was like, I don't know what the fuck happened. It was like
was there some pretty shit ones within that series.
Number 2 and 5 were definitely the worst ones, I thought. 5 might have been worse than 2 because the villain was just brutal in 5. Right. I remember us talking about this exact discussion still, like, when I was still at Pawpaw's, and he's just like, he's a friend of human. And like this guy, it was kind of like the Cobra role, but like to a much shittier fucking level.
Yeah, he's just garbage.
Yeah.
It's like, who would follow this guy?
Exactly. No, and that's the thing too. Is like it was kind of like that. But see, to me, and I'm not comparing them in this sense, but I remember telling you on those episodes following when we saw Kingdom in theaters, and then me watching the original 5. I remember telling you, I'm like, but if you apply the new 4 movies to those original 5, the best way to put it is number 4. I think that was Conquering of the Planet of the Apes or something along those lines, like about taking over the shit. That was like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, number 4, and 5 was like Dawn, except, I mean, Rise, it's not, 4 is not as good as Rise, but 5 in no fucking way, shape, or form is close to what the fuck Dawn is. But I mean, even 4 was actually pretty good though, because it really showed like Caesar like doing all the shit that he did, and fucking giving a speech and like just them taking over and the way they were treated on Earth when the humans did have the upper hand on them. And so four was really solid. It's really a breakthrough idea even looking back, because now that we've seen it go from a human world to like the apes taking over in like the new movies, going from seeing, oh my god, you like the way one plays out, you'll be like, oh shit, there's like time loops and different things that happen, and like you eventually see them get to the point where they get in one and why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting series, and like it's, you know, number one's a beautiful concept, like I feel like for a movie in general, and for 1968 it was definitely a breakthrough movie. So I'm excited to watch that one. I have not seen that since the first time I watched it, so I didn't watch any of them the second time. I just watched them that time, and so yeah, I'm pumped about it because that was definitely my favorite one. I would say 1, 4, 3. Maybe 2, then 5. 2, it was just so bad because the third act was just god awful. But 5 was just, the villain was brutal, and Caesar being old and like more of a wise, you know, kind of like the Yoda role almost in like the 5th one. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool, but then the villain was awful, and it was just. So I'm like, those are hard to quantify, but it definitely goes 1, 4, 3 to me, and then 3 was okay. I mean, it no real complaints. It showed Caesar's parents and like a lot of what they went through just to have him and like have him like unaffected, you know, even though by that time it was where they really started caging up all the apes again, and then that goes into 4 where they rise up, you know, and 4 was, I think you'd like 4 too. It was dope. But with due time, you gotta start with the first one anyway.
That is so. So Planet of the Apes and Cowboys and Aliens.
Yep, Cowboys and two more action adventures.
Yeah. And the next movie.
Little sci-fi. Actually, sci-fi, action adventure, both of them really.
Yeah.
All right, well,
shall be fun.
That covers it for those, and we've got a couple rounds of good, the bad, and the shits, right?
That is so.
All right, you want to lead it off?
Yeah. So this can be people that do this, I guess, on a stage, or people that do it just in like videos, since social media is such a big thing now. What do you think of impersonators, like celebrity impersonators or anything else like that? I guess it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks back with the whole cover bands thing. Celebrity impersonators are kind of like that, but they're not always musical artists. They're, you know, there's people that are impersonators of Tom Cruise and Leonardo DiCaprio and Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow, like all kinds of different movie characters and everything too. It's just kind of like, what do you think of it? Being an impersonator of a character.
Where would you like at conventions and shit like that? You think, or they people?
I mean, people do that, but there's also people that do it for jobs. Like, oh, you can hire this character to come to your party or do this, or these people make videos too now. There's like TikTok, you know, and social media and reels and stuff, and there's these impersonators. Oh, I'm Tom Cruise. It's nice to meet you.
I might say, because like honestly, I would want to meet the real guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a little overrated, I think, on that.
Yeah, just an impersonator. That's the thing. Like, not that I would even ever ask for this. It'd be cool if somebody got me like one of them cameo videos of a celebrity I really liked or something, and they were talking directly to, hey, happy birthday, or whatever it was. That'd be neat.
Yeah.
But I'd never like request something like that. But if somebody got me like an impersonator of a celebrity I really liked, or even if it was one that was like had long since been passed or something, I'd just be like,
yeah,
what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
I don't want no celebrity impersonator video,
yeah.
You know? But I mean, if it's on like social media, or if they're whatever, then I mean that doesn't really bother me.
If you don't have to put
They also have, you know,
If you don't have to
Elvises and stuff in Vegas and
Yeah.
shit. And,
Like, if you don't have to put much effort into seeing them or seeing a clip of them or whatever, then that's whatever it is. But, like, I'm, like, to pay or, you know, something to...
yeah, if I see a
If
video
I'm gonna pay,
of
I
them,
kind of want to actually fucking meet the guy, you know what I mean? The person.
yeah. If I see a video of them, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good one. That's believable.
Yeah.
But, like, if somebody paid to have, you know, a fake Johnny Depp at a party or something,
Imagine
I'd be like,
that
this is
being-
corny as hell.
Imagine that being your livelihood, impersonating somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's what you do for money. That's crazy.
It probably, I mean, happens, you know, in some of the more upscale, like, probably areas of California and stuff with some of these celebrities. There's probably, like, impersonators that, you know, get paid or out there in Vegas and stuff, too. Somewhere within the West Coast, I'd imagine that it's probably, like, a thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, let's pay this
Even though they're already out there.
this impersonator to look like this guy to come to this party. Dude, there was like a fuckload of Pitbull impersonators for a while. They'd come and like do the set and shit. But it wasn't the real Pitbull.
I know, and who the fuck even wants to see the real Pitbull?
That was like a thing in the 2010s. That like that really was a thing.
We got him
I
for
think he
Mania
got caught with.
again! It's because he's not getting booked anywhere else.
It probably wasn't even the real guy half the time. He literally, his look was so easy. It just had to be a shorter guy that was bald and had a little brown goatee, and he wore those fucking aviator sunglasses all the time.
Yeah.
And you spoke in that accent, and it was like,
It's Pitbull!
he just showed that he had like 33 impersonators that he would hire to show up to different events.
Yeah, that's why they got him. Oh, well, who's gonna cost $10,000? Everybody else costs like fucking 300 G's.
I guess we'll try to get, we get Pitbull back.
Every fucking year between like 2010 and like 2017, they fucking hired him.
Hey, you know that sometimes artists get those contracts though. The Weeknd, he had a Mania. It wasn't always the main one, but a Mania song for like 4 or 5 years.
I do have one for you though.
What do you got?
After throwing an overrated on that guy, on that impersonator. Well, you've probably consumed more content wrestling all around than I have lately as far as like the full shows go. But I am going to throw this one out there. What do you think of the build-up to WrestleMania 42 so far? As a collective. Talk about some of the ones that maybe you're doing better, some of them that are poorly built maybe. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I told this to like Tyler, I believe. I was just kind of like, the Mania card itself looks pretty great. Like, there's a lot of excitement to be had within some of the matches for sure. But the build up to where we got to get to these matches has been a bit of a letdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a lot of facets. Like Roman and Punk, some of that stuff's been fun. The build up. Especially in recent weeks, like with the Usos getting more involved again. I don't want the bloodline to like fully get back together necessarily, but like kind of having them all aligned together again and kind of like rubbing shoulders around Mania season, it kind of adds some excitement, you know? And Jay's like, because Jay has been such the kid favorite and like the big face guy, seeing him kind of take that unhinged edge to his character again, and like he's almost like he's losing it on everyone, you know. And like this last week he called the shot for Roman, and that has never happened, you know. Like Roman's always the one calling the shots. Like he tells the Usos, okay, this is what we're doing now. Like in this last week, because him and Punk haven't been that physical with each other. They, you know, Punk punched him a couple weeks ago.
Gotta save it for Mania.
Roman punched Punk this past week, but like Jay was the one that told Roman, because they were getting separated and stuff, and they were all exiting the ring, and Jay was like, "You know what to do, man. Get him. Get him." And Roman was like, "Yeah." He like got back in the ring and he like fucked Punk up. It was kind of like, oh shit, like Jay was the one that like brought that out of him. You know?
That's gonna come to fruition down the line at some point.
So that's been kind of interesting, and like obviously Randy and Cody, that's building up to be pretty damn
Randy's
interesting
beat
too.
the hell out of Cody.
Yeah, he's like really taken more of that violent side to him again.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm sure the women's title matches are going to deliver. They're going to be great matches, but it's like, well, I hope Rhea and Jade's a good match. I really do. I'm sure Liv and Stephanie's going to be good. But their builds have both been pretty damn weak.
Yeah.
Like, it literally, I saw some posts the other day that was like Rhea versus Jade build up. I'm that bitch. I'm gonna make you my bitch. It's just like this back and forth, and then it's like, and we're 3 weeks from May or whatever.
Yeah.
They're still. It's like, what are we doing? You guys come out. Jade talks, and the "I'm that bitch" line's just it's annoying me at this point. It's like, it was cool when you said it the first time. It was kind of like a mic drop moment, like, oh shit, that's cool. You say it every week.
Yeah.
Now. It's like, say something else, okay? This is getting old quick. And it's all it is every week. And then you say that, and then Rhea comes out, and Rhea tries to fight, and then you get out of the ring, and you hold up the belt. It's like,
is there any way Jade retains that, or I don't even know. Some people think she's gonna retain. There's no way
Bianca comes back anytime soon, she retains. But if not,
there's no fucking way that all these titles change hands. Though there's like 4. I don't see that happening. Something tells me Randy's not gonna
maybe
win.
Liv
wish
doesn't
he
win
would.
because the Judgment Day is sort of imploding. Maybe somehow that's the downfall of her. Maybe Raquel accidentally cost her some shit.
Maybe.
You know?
I don't know. I felt like this whole time Roman will probably walk out with the title night too. But especially because I've also heard that Punk is going to be gone for the next 2 months after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But
we shall see.
The thing is we also know that sometimes they'll put misinformation out there just to lure you in. But I don't know. I've also seen that from a few places. I haven't looked hyper extensively into it, but I've seen that from some stuff that looked legit, and I'm like, and I could also see that because he's had the belt a while. If he gives it up, I could see that happening. It's much more likely he loses if he does actually have time off after Mania. Doesn't mean he won't be on the Raw after, or they could even, if he retained, maybe he gets attacked by somebody the first fucking night, then he's gone for a while. I don't know. I was trying to think of reasons why, if that actually is true or not, he would lose or win the title, or keep the title rather. I don't know though. I still think that Roman. I mean, I know Punk lost last year. He didn't wrestle the Mania before that, I don't think. So some people are giving reason for that to provide just cause for him to retain against Roman. But I think I'm still right now. We're still a few weeks away from the WrestleMania cast, but I'm still leaning on Roman, to be honest.
Yeah. I would probably say Roman at this point as well. If I had to throw it out there. I mean, that's not my official prediction, but Punk's had the belt for a while. The belt's been kept away from Roman for a couple years now. He's not gonna. I mean, if he has the belt, he might actually work some more PLEs throughout the year, just because I could see him. I mean, he worked more than I thought he would work last year. So they might throw one of the world titles back on him for a little while he's still working at least this much.
Oh yeah, it's been 2 years since he's had a title too. So
yeah. But, I mean, time will tell. But it also feels like they're kind of building up stuff with him and like the Usos, and like there might be more story to tell. Some within, I mean, that might even implode. It might quickly turn into, they might be adversaries of his or something, you know?
You got my title? It's like, man, like multiple people have had and lost it since then.
It's like Jay. He had this title once. You're talking to Roman Reigns.
He had it for like a month and a half.
But yeah, I'd say the build to Mania, I don't know, because like the overall perception of it, I don't think is great at this point. Like, I mean, people are excited for it because it's Mania season. As wrestling fans, you always are going to get excited for it. But I think most like true fans of the product that like keep up pretty regularly are like,
The matches look good. Some of the matches look good, but the builds and the excitement building has been kind of flaky.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I'm going to lean, I guess, a little overrated, but I could easily see it being fair because it's getting some hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, like, completely bashing it either because, like I said, I'm excited for it still. There's a lot of matches that I'm, like, looking forward to, and Mania always has some match of the year contenders at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna deliver at the end of the day, and I'm like, from the match card point of view, it looks like it's going to deliver, but it also is kind of like lackluster in the fact that I'm like, what are we doing here? We're weeks away from Mania, and there's still so many matches to be announced. Like,
yeah,
I see
they always do this.
I see where these rivalries are heading. Like, men and women's division, both. There's like multiple rivalries that are like, okay, we could just announce this. Just get it out there. And start promoting it a little bit. We're like not that far away at this point.
Dude, the Hall of Fame inductee class is looking fucking dope though.
Yeah.
Psycho Sid Vicious, whatever you want to call him. Demolition, AJ Styles, Stephanie McMahon, Bad News Brown. Who's the other?
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, dude. Banger of a class.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll hold off Cena for a little longer.
Oh yeah, they should.
Bring him back when the time's right.
Well, I guess we can kind of just throw mine out there because it sort of fits into this as well. But
Right.
Gunther apparently just being left off the Mania card.
Fucking stupid as fuck. The shits.
Overrated. I guess they don't know what to do with them.
Overrated. If you don't have a match for the guy that you put over several fucking big talents over the last year, and you've built him up to be what he is right now, there's no fucking excuse. I don't give a shit if his opponent got hurt. You should still have a match lined up for him.
And there's no way they're going to put him on the card at this point. There's no way.
That's crazy.
Because he hasn't been on the show in 3 weeks now.
So stupid.
And there's just nobody for him. Like, it's already kind of mapping out the way you can kind of see where the Mania card is heading, and there's no spot for him. So it's just like, I guess he's going to make his return after Mania ends. Probably the Raw after Mania or something.
That's so fucking wasteful.
It's ridiculous.
He's got some of the best promos in the whole fucking game right now.
And like
his ring work.
His Mania 39 and 40 were both good. Like, he had that triple threat with Drew and Sheamus at 39, and him and Sammy at 40 was good. 41 with Jay was a big letdown, and now he's going to be off of 42. It's like, this is like one of the guys you're building so much around. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I had actually heard that part of them was considering having him and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that was going to, I think, be sort of the route I heard they were potentially going to head to, but Ray has not been around, and I couldn't tell you how fucking long. And Gunther hasn't been on the show in weeks.
No, and what the fuck's Seth doing?
I mean, he's at least been on Raw every week.
With fucking 30 masked men doing God knows what to it.
Running around in fucking circles and shit. I mean, he's punched Paul Heyman a few times, knocked his ass over a few
yeah.
times and shit. Like, he's got physical with him.
Some
and,
people are like taking shots at the masked man thing though, because it's
yeah.
so ridiculous.
I've heard
so overblown.
some of that too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really think that. I don't hate it if it's just Seth. Like, he comes out with the hood up and he pulls the mask off. That's whatever. If you want to do that for a while, okay. But like, it is a little ridiculous to have this whole crew of masked men running out and shit. Like, every time, it's like. What are we doing? Just we don't know who that guy is. It's like we know the gimmick at this point.
Oh yeah.
It made sense when you were like you first revealed yourself at Chamber, and it was like then you had the secret masked men. But ever since that moment, you should have ditched the giant crew of them.
Yeah, I don't know, and it seems like injuries always end up plaguing like major storylines too, but I still just think that's so shitty to like.
I think Ray and Gunther could have secretly delivered a fucking banger at Mania too.
Yeah, no question. That would have been a cool match to have. That sucks.
Yeah.
You know, Ray doesn't have too much more in the tank.
No, dude. I've heard recently that he's like retiring pretty soon.
That's so shitty, though. I mean, it's just, it's rough.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. The guy's had a lot of knee surgeries and shit. He's old now. It's crazy. It blows my mind. I love Rey Mysterio, but it blows my mind, like, watching him just on a random Raw in my late 20s, and he's still, like, flipping around people, Hurricanrana, West Coast Pop, Frog Splash. It's like, this guy is like, he just never quits.
No.
He's been doing this shit as a
He's like
teenager.
50,
He's
52.
like 50 now. Yeah.
I did just think of one, actually, that would be another wrestling one yet, but it deserves to be talked about a little more. I'm sure as in the weeks, that unfold, we'll get more into the Mania season stuff anyway. But yeah, definitely overrated. You can't fucking leave Gunther off the table. I don't give a fuck if his initial opponent was not in line for to have him.
And I mean, I don't know what LA Knight's gonna do either. Like he kind of feels like another one that's like
put them together. He's
been on Raw every week. He's circling around the Vision and the Usos. Like he's doing stuff with them.
Mm-hmm.
What if it is Tom Brady?
That'd be insane.
I actually got a tag partner for tonight.
I don't know if he'd actually compete, but
I mean, he might not do a whole lot.
Yeah.
You might tag him in. He hits all your.
Oh, he threw the football at him like fucking stupid ass Pac-Man.
He might hit like a clothesline and a frog splash or something. But
yeah. That would be crazy if he competed at WrestleMania.
Apparently, I've heard they're trying to stack it because ticket sales has been.
It is Vegas.
Not what they'd hoped because everything's so expensive right now, and everything's so expensive in Vegas anyways. And it was just there last year, so the people that travel for it every year are like, oh, it just was there. Shit's so expensive, and so they're like trying. And there's injuries, and the build's been what it's been. Mm-hmm. So like they're trying to stack the card in other ways. That's why Speed's been on the show a little more recently. They kind of want him there. I show Speed. Jelly Roll's probably going to have a match because he's been on SmackDown like 3 weeks in a row now. And they're in talks with getting Tom Brady there.
Yeah.
So
I can see some of those things for sure happening. That would be insane though, because that one year we had like 5 celebrity matches out of like 12 or 13.
It's going to be The Miz. Dude, this is going to be a ridiculous match if this ends up being. But like, because Jelly Roll is feuding with like The Miz and Kit Wilson. And I heard it's going to be The Miz and Kit Wilson versus Jelly Roll and Danhausen. I'm like, that would be an absurd match, dude.
I can see him doing some goofy shit like that though too. The Miz, like, this will be his like insanely like 18th Mania in a row or something crazy.
Yeah, dude,
if he does that.
Unstoppable too.
Even though most of the year he gets left entirely off the show.
And like, I mean, he gets brought around to like get thrown around or do some goofy shit though.
Yeah. I do have one that I just impromptuously thought of, but it's not bad because there's a lot of examples, especially now. Whereas like there's been many generations of wrestlers too. But what do you think about the expectations for second and third generation superstars, like in the business? Like the kids of stars or grandkids or however far down. Because I mean, some of them do have, like for instance, Grandmaster Sexay was Jerry the King Lawler's one, and like some people that knew that then, I always did know that because like I think Dad told us like before a lot of the kayfabe was broken and you found out information about everybody too, internet and everything too. But it's like I don't think his expectations were ever that he was going to be the king. I mean, Jerry Lawler, especially in Memphis, was a fucking huge name. Like, he was a legend there. And even really across the states in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, he was too. And as a commentator later. But, you got somebody like The Rock who fucking way surpassed, all due respect to the High Chief, Peter Maivia, and Rocky Johnson. The Rock became way bigger than either one of them did. Yeah. Randy Orton became way bigger than his grandpa or his dad did.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I mean, we have, multi-generation talents facing off against each other in a main event at WrestleMania this year. It's like, it's definitely an influence within the business.
Dom and Ray, they faced before.
I mean, it's definitely like something I think even I'm guilty of it as a wrestling fan where like, once you kind of know the behind the curtain of it, like certain wrestlers, kids, a little more like, oh, they're grown up now. Mm-hmm. Like you see posts about it on social media and stuff and you're like, oh, I wonder if they're going to get involved. Whether it's like a guy or a girl now at this point, because like there's great opportunity for both. So it's just like, I wonder if Triple H and Stephanie's daughters will get in it, or like just different things like that, or within. I mean, even Sean's, got daughter.
The Rock's daughter actually got. I'm pretty sure she got cut from NXT.
Yeah, she was like the GM character for a little bit, I think. Because I think she was a wrestler for a minute, and maybe she got injured or something happened, and then she was like the GM character, and then now she's like gone. But that's the thing too. It can also go like that, and I don't think the expectation should necessarily be like because it could also go like Randy Orton or The Rock or whatever, where it's like, oh, they end up becoming mega compared to whoever their dad or whoever was within the business, but it also might not pan out. So I don't think there should also be like that immediate eyeballs on, oh, they're going to be the next big thing. It's like that within all sports though, they can't live up to it all the time, but they do that with like football players' kids and basketball players' kids, and
occasionally you'll have the one that'll blow their father or grandpa or whatever out of the water in terms of their popularity. Like Dusty, Dustin, and Cody. Like there was a time when certainly like neither Dustin is as much love as I have for Dustin and Goldust too. Is like there's a certain point in time, especially in like 2007 or 10 or whatever, where you're like, there's no chance either one of them is close to what Dusty was in terms of in terms of drawing power, popularity. Like people, he sold out fucking buildings, and like Dustin as Goldust had a great career and was a great character, but he didn't move tickets like Dusty did in the 1970s and 80s. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's kind of crazy because Cody actually has some degree of argument for what he did with establishing AEW and then what he's done since he's been back. Whether I like or other people like it or not.
Major popularity now. Yeah.
So it's definitely more of a compelling argument. I definitely wouldn't say he's definitively past him, even though Dusty didn't hold the world title in WWE. I still don't think that should be the defining factor either, because he held like 8 championships from the NWA, the fucking AW. You know what I'm saying? Like AWA, a lot of the companies that were around at that time. So he was really on his way out by the time it was, 1988, 1990 anyway, and WWF had been only going with WrestleMania for a handful of years by that time. So it's not like he had too long to have held a title there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's hard because you can't deny its influence on wrestling because there's been so many.
The Von Erichs were all second degree, or
yeah.
second, and then Kevin had his kids, now they're third generation stars.
It's been a major lineage line within wrestling. Like
Hearts.
That's why at the beginning of Cody saw wrestling as more than one royal family, because there's a lot of families that are known as kind of like wrestling families. They have multiple generations of kids that get involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say fair for the influence because sometimes it leads to
the expectations.
Greatness. Yeah. The
It's the good thing for them is it's a way to get your foot in the door for sure. But after that, you really got to fucking prove yourself too. Because there's not a lot. There's some that they will get a chance for a while, but if you can't cut it, like if you can't fucking show up, it's like if Dom hadn't evolved, he wouldn't have made it very long.
Yeah.
But he did, and
that's why so many of the Samoan dynasty too, I think, does make it, is because it runs within that lineage and that bloodline of them. And like they pass that down of like the respect for the business and what you do and what you don't do. So like they come in kind of knowing how to walk and act and be, in ways. I feel like it's like there's it kind of puts you ahead in ways to grow up around the business. Then you already sort of know what you're doing when you get in there, So that's why it's probably a lot of them get involved in it too, because they're sort of in the inner workings as kids.
Yeah. They're already definitely got a foot in the door. Like especially now, there's been an enormity of them that have come in.
Yeah, I mean that's just even speaking for any kind of like second and third generation talent. Like it puts them ahead if they want to get involved because they grew up around it and they know what it is and they know how to be.
Oh yeah, I'm sure all The Rock had to do too is just make a phone call. Oh, yep, she's there. Got some sort of It doesn't always mean that they're gonna get everything if you don't actually have it or if you're not ready or whatever. But it certainly helps to get a foot in the door because a lot of people that work for years and years and years, man, don't ever even get a shot. So it's but that's the thing too is and maybe they're not expecting you to be as good as your dad or your grandpa or whoever. But the other thing is, they're gonna really be, and whatever you let, and we all do to a degree, I'm sure, some of the stuff that people say behind closed doors, whatever, affect you. But some of them, if they're oh yeah, they're not as good, people will be oh, they're never gonna be fucking as good as their dad was, it's just, and I'm sure that's fucking tough too because your expectations are enormously higher if that parent or whoever was just lights out, huge star. You know what I mean?
You don't want to put that on the kid either. That's why it's
trying
hard
to pass even the thought of somebody say Randy Orton or The Rock's kid. It's even the thought of trying to be anything of what they are is fucking insanely tough.
Yeah.
It's nobody has that kind of impact or that kind of longevity and it's almost just very unrealistic, And the same as a lot of those top guys and girls, you know what I mean? Girls that have wrestled. It's so whenever you have such a magnetizing and just overpowering presence, and you're that big of a star, it's just that's so unfair. Even honestly, the King's son, to put him Grandmaster and Scotty 2 Hotty and stuff.
That's why he had to be. It's
character. You had to be something different because the King was fucking iconic.
It's the same with how Gold Dust. He had to be something entirely different.
100%. I agree with that. Yeah, it's I can see it from both angles. That was actually a good one I pulled out, and I was like, we've definitely never even done that one, but it's kind of an interesting look at it too. Because I always did think it could be they have an upper hand and also really cruel consequences to not being so great. You know what I mean? Because people shut that shit down fucking, quickly.
That's why you have to, at least in wrestling, like, it's inescapable if you're Bronny James or somebody like that. It's inescapable. But, like, at least in wrestling, it's like you can come up with your own thing. You can become your own kind of thing that's not associated with, I'm just this person's son. You know? That's what Dom did. He found it. You know?
Yeah, he had to be something like a lot different than Ray. But he adjusted and he made it work. So a lot of props to him. Still really young.
Yeah. He almost has more Eddie feel to him.
Yeah,
now.
He does. Well, he tried to start looking like it also. So.
Oh yeah, with the mustache and the mullet and shit.
Well, you ready to call it?
Oh yeah, it's getting late.
Alrighty, well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be reviewing Planet of the Apes and Cowboys and Aliens on the next solo episode. Get another guest next week, so tune in for him. And we hope you have a great week out there. Take care of yourselves and each other. We will see you on episode 223.